tell you something, brother. This might be the best OG Kush I've ever had. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. You just said a mouthful, brother. I'm higher than helicopter butt. Listen, though, Hulkster. Younglurch has been running his mouth on that podcast. Blaze the BingoHall podcast needs to show some respect to the veterans, brother. I say we run in there and show Younglurch and his guest just exactly who the OGs of this game are, What you gonna do, Blaze the BingoHall podcast, when the Macho Man and the Hulkster run wild on you? Ooh, yeah. Give me like 10 minutes, though, because I'm really, really stoned. Oh, yeah.
That's I knew you would like that one, but welcome back to the Bingo Hall. It's Blaze the Bingo Hall with your boy Younglurch. Today we have Bobby Starr, aka Playboy Bobby Starr. You may have seen him in WCW, WWF, MEWF, MCW, NWL, USW, and I'm sure there's so many more out there that I missed, but my man Bob, welcome into the Bingo Hall.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good, man.
It's funny because you say it the same way I do. It's like, how many independents have I worked for? And it's like, holy shit, I can't even remember.
Yeah, I'm sure there's so many I probably left off there.
Well, they come and go, and then there's some of them that are around for a long while, like ATCW, House of Pain Wrestling, which I still work for, actually. Like, people are kind of misconstrued. They think I retired, and I kind of did. I tried to. And they put me in the Hall of Fame, and next thing I know, they said, hey, you want to do one match? I'm like, sure, no problem. I can do that. As long as it's like a tag match, I'll be good. Somehow I'm wrestling a full schedule again, and I don't know how I'm going to keep doing it.
I mean, honestly, Bob, I told you today, yesterday, I said, it looks like you haven't aged, man. I mean, I know, like you said, you took time off and, you're dealing with some things, but it's like, you're back, man. You look great. You look like they just took you right out of the 90s and put you right here, man. Like,
yeah, like the MEWF days. I don't know. I honestly, as a shoot, I took a different job, and I'm working day shift, which is good for the body, and unloading trucks. So I'm all day long, I'm lifting. So it's kind of like the upper body's doing good now. If I could just stop eating pizza, I'd be all right.
Yeah. So was anything motivating you to get back in, or is it just maybe getting the itch, being around the ring, being around the guys again, or?
Well, a couple of the promotions have me so-called running their dressing room. And running the dressing room is making sure that the people don't see duplicates of everything and see, I don't know, you don't want to see the same finish in 2 or 3 matches. It would just be boring. And people pay good money to come see the shows nowadays, So I've been doing that. And it's like you get that itch. You're standing back there and it's like, man, I want to put my boots on. Shit on this. I know, like, I can help put a show together. I can help book finishes. But the thing of it is, I'm the only one that knows that I can do 100% of the time what I see here.
Yeah, like, you can carry it out.
Right. The things that fans see at the shows that I run a dressing room, it's my ideas, but it's carried out by other people. But the problem is you always get worried about that, because if they don't totally understand you, or if there's any question, and maybe they don't want to feel like they don't know what they're doing, so they don't want to really ask it or something like that. But dude, I have a blast helping the young kids and helping even some of the older guys that just honestly just need a fresh idea to do something, something they're not thinking of. Because I'm the first one to tell you, I'm nothing special, but I've been around a long time.
Do you think that there's a lot of locker rooms, I guess, today that need someone like you to kind of filter things through and like have somebody to, play off of or spitball off of? Because I feel like that's where a lot of it gets lost, where they just wind up doing the same things. And like you said, seeing a lot of the same finishes within a match or a card.
Well, a lot of the big independents, and I haven't been to all of them, but MCW in Baltimore, I mean, and I'm not blowing wind up their ass. They've got a good thing going, and they have agents. Basically, an independent that's making some money can afford to have guys not in the ring but backstage, and they still get paid.
Yeah.
Smaller independents can't afford it, right? And it's like, I totally get it. It's like, I've offered to work, and I've offered to do anything I can do to help, because I just want to see these kids have some sort of chance. because what's heartbreaking to me is they're never going to get the chance that I had. You know, that chance doesn't exist anymore, right?
Yeah.
So, and like I was telling my girlfriend, like, and she doesn't understand that when you watch Monday Night Raw on Netflix, it's harder because I can't see the breakdowns like we used to get, the ratings breakdowns. But when it was still on the USA Network in them last 2 months, our Wendy's commercial from WCW Saturday Night got a higher rating than their main event. And it's like, so millions and millions of people would see our shows. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, now with Netflix, it's worldwide. And I don't even know if they can figure it out themselves, how many people actually watch it, because you got the people watching it live, and then halfway through you can start from the beginning. And like, I don't understand how
the rating, the way they do the ratings is completely different. And I don't even think it's all just based off of ratings anymore, especially when they went to Netflix. It's like they said, it's almost like a whole different way of measuring, I guess, a barometer that they use to try to get whatever it is that they're looking for, their return, I would assume. But yeah, it's completely changed the game all the way around. As far as the wrestler and
SmackDown, for the longest time, I thought had a better product. They had a better show. And now SmackDown took USA Network. Well, USA Network's had WWF since I was a kid, like a little kid, like when I first started watching. And I'm going, there's no way Vince is going to shoot himself in the head. Like, this is not something, something's different. Like, I don't know what it, and then you heard the money figures and all that kind of shit. So I totally understand it. But it's like Raw, if you want to see Raw, you got to pay to see Raw, right? So compare that to when I first came around the wrestling business, Hulk Hogan would do an interview and talk you into the arena, because if you wanted to see Hulk in the ring working, you had to pay to see him.
Yeah.
Once or twice a year, he'd be on television wrestling. Other than that, you had to go to the arena, and that's how they made their money. You know, money's made in so many different ways. The merchandise for pro wrestling now is so insane. It's just like baseball and football.
You know, what do you think about like NWO and like Stone Cold and all these guys from back then? They're still some of the top merch sellers
to this day. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I wouldn't doubt that when Hulk passed away, his shirt was probably the #1 selling piece of merchandise for the next few days at those shows, like SmackDown, Raw, whatever. And it's like, people don't understand that. It's like, me personally, I own a Hulk Hogan, I own a Hulkamania shirt. I've had one since I was a kid. In fact, I have the original one that I bought. You know,
that's awesome.
Like a Crockett Cup shirt from Baltimore. I have a Road Warrior shirt that was original, and it's like, they're just in a tote and they're not for sale. And like, one day they will be. But I see how stuff goes on the internet, and it's like, for anybody that knows me really well, I clowned around for quite a few years, and you know that, you as a young kid was there, and like the figures that they made of it. Some of them figures are worth like $200 and $300. It's like, what? They were only like $12 to buy them. It's insane.
Yeah. I remember having a blue blazer that we kept in the plastic and the case. And even then, like when I was a kid, it was still worth like $75 or $100. So who knows what something like that would be worth now. But it also is kind of grimy too when guys like Hulk die, and like Kevin Sullivan recently. Like as soon as someone dies, all these merch guys and collector guys, they go instant. They try to flood the market. But some of these groups will kind of police it and be like, hey, you got to wait like a couple months or whatever it is. Like, you're not going to try to cash in when this guy just died just to try to like hurry up and make a buck. Like, it's kind of like,
I mean, there's a lot of them there. And dude, the way I look at it is like this: whoever the person is obviously got paid by them to sign the stuff. Once you sign it, it's up to them when they sell it. And, like, people jump on Rob Feinstein's ass all the time. Here's the thing. He pays a hell of a lot of money to get them guys to sign that stuff and buying collections and stuff like that. And I've known Rob for many years. And it's like, to some people, that's the only way they're ever going to get that autograph. So, you know, if they're a collector, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I just think sometimes it's in poor taste. Give it a few days. You know what I mean? It's like,
let the man die or woman die, you know?
Yeah, I mean, let him put them in the ground before you start selling his figures for $300 or some crazy shit.
So, since you brought up Hulk, I want to ask, what are your thoughts on all this stuff that's going on recently. Like everyone just like shitting all over him. I think it's disgusting. I haven't really said too much about it openly. I kind of just bit my tongue, but since you brought him up, and obviously he's a part of my intro. Like Hulk Hogan's played a big part in my life, like growing up. You know, everyone that was a wrestling fan. So I just think like, yeah, he made some mistakes, and personally, but I feel like how many of us know him personally? So for us to judge and be like, hey, this.
Everybody has said something out of anger at one time or another. My best friend in the world is Ruckus. Okay. Yep. I trust him with my life. And he said the same thing. Like first thing he said, he was hot because it's like, it's over and done with. The man apologized for it, whether he meant it or not. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You have some kind of respect because at one point in your life, you were in one of these arenas or buildings cheering for this guy. And okay, so maybe you're not his fan anymore, but don't talk shit for the people that didn't get to see that or didn't, want to give it. And I'll be honest with you, I was at my daytime job in the conference room with a bunch of supervisors, and I was given an update on a trailer schedule because I worked for a bread company or whatever. And all of a sudden, every phone in the room went off, and I said, "What the fuck is going on? Did we just go to war or something?" And somebody turned around and showed me the picture, and it was like I got kicked in the gut. I mean, because by no means, like I'll tell you exactly the way I told my girlfriend, by no means am I saying I'm one of Hulk Hogan's buddies. Absolutely not. I was a very good acquaintance. I saw him every Nitro that I was at. I saw him at a lot of the TV tapings I was at because when he first came in, they were trying to run him through like WCW Saturday Night. I don't think he ever did Pro or Worldwide. They would air matches that were from somewhere else. But when we went to Orlando and did the tapings down there where the ring would spin on the thing or whatever, he was down there quite a few times. And it's like, I saw Randy all the time. And no, I'm not like friends with him. I don't go to their house for Thanksgiving, but you know what?
Right.
Man was always super nice to me. He always shook my hand, asked me how I was doing. Did I need anything? Stuff like that. He was always super cool with me. And so was Jimmy Hart. But that happens at that time in like 92, 93, 94. If you're there all the time and they get used to seeing you, and there's monitors in their dressing room, so they see your work. They may not pay attention to it all the time, but they see your work. And if you're there all the time, obviously you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they also know that their pay is way up here and you're way down here. You know what I mean? So like it meant a lot, man. One of my very good friends, I will say, was Sherry Martel. And Sherry, we talked just before we came on the air about Bobby Eaton, same thing. Yep. These are some of the nicest people ever in the business. And you'll hear some of these stories where some of the guys are assholes or this, that, another thing. And it's like, okay, well, the first thing I say is, who said that? Okay. And why did they say it? Did they get in the ring with them? And like, okay, so for instance, I was in the ring with Vader a couple of times and he kind of hurt me. And I thought he was an asshole, but you know what? He had just come home from Japan. Both times that I was, my ear here in Baltimore, he popped my eardrum here in Baltimore. That's how I got my job, actually. But he had just come home from Japan. So in Japan, you're fighting for your life. It doesn't matter if you're 400 pounds or not. They want to be the supreme wrestlers. That's how Japan is.
Yeah.
And so you're swinging over there. Well, it takes a little while when you get back home to get your stuff together. A buddy of mine, I'd still call him my friend to this day, Scott Norton, that was in the NWO. Same thing. Dude, he hit me so hard, I thought I owed him money. It was crazy. But it's not like he meant to. He wasn't trying to do that. It was just he came home from Japan. You know what I mean? It's like
they're working that strong style over there.
Right. And once I learned that, because at first I was upset, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, what did I do wrong? It's like the match looked good on TV, but holy shit. Yeah. And but it was just a Japanese thing. I just talked to a guy today that's getting ready to go to Japan in April. And it's for a smaller group or whatever. And he's like, bro, it's nothing like it used to be, And it's like, because back then at WCW, we dealt with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And WWE back in the day dealt with All Japan Pro Wrestling, and they did some gigantic pay-per-view kind of shows over there. And WCW toured over there a few times. I didn't get to go with them, but it was like I wasn't in the right spot to be on a world tour like that. But yeah, it's like I said, back to the Hogan thing, like, unless you knew him, like, I never seen him have a problem with anybody, like, nothing like that. Never heard anything out of his mouth, like, backstage. I went to a party one time in Daytona Beach. We did Clash of the Champions, I think it was, at the Ocean Center.
Mhm.
And Hulk had the entire upper floor of the Adams Mark was his room, his suite. And there was a giant party up there. And I got invited up by the referee, Pee Wee. I forget what the hell, Pee Wee Anderson. And I just walked up with them, and I walked in with them, so I was cool. And like, Hulk was the nicest guy. It's just like Beefcake. Like, Beefcake has his days, I'm sure. And I mean, sometimes his wife like flips out online, but you know what? Missy's got a big heart too. You know, she don't mean harm. She just, you know, it's like everybody else. Everybody gets pissed off once in a while, but if you're an asshole one time and it hits the internet,
and that's the thing. It's a numbers game too. You got to think, when these guys have as much reach as they have and talk to as many people as they talk to, you're bound to have somebody that's not gonna, like you or say you're an asshole or what have you. And if they go and they tell another 100 people, and one of those 100 are close to you, you're gonna have that same thought, like, oh, that guy's probably an asshole. But it's like you said, you got to know the person yourself and make your own assumptions. But
I mean, everybody has a bad day. That's the way I look at it. You know.
But let's get into you, Bob. Let's talk about how you first got interested in professional wrestling. I didn't know that you were actually from California. Is that right? Now, I know sometimes Wikipedia lies, so if any of this is wrong.
It's back and forth. My aunt lived in California when I was a kid, so I spent a lot of time out there. But I'm originally from Baltimore. I was born here. And I'm here now, and like, I'm probably going to be stuck here the rest of my life. But the Malibu Beach thing, I mean, truth be told, the way it started, when I got trained, I went to a show in Virginia. It was my first show, and I wrestled Axl Rotten. Well, Axl Rotten that night, when we got there was a bunch of guys weren't showing up, right? They didn't no-show. They told them up front. So the promoter had called my original trainer and said, hey, I need like 4 extra guys. So they brought me and Axl Rotten, and a guy named Dave the Wave, the referee, was there. In fact, he drove. And there was a few other guys, but I ended up wrestling Axl, and he was called Tough Tim or some shit. So he assumed the name on the poster. Well, one of the names on the poster was Hollywood Bob. So I did that, and when I got home, I started thinking about it. I'm going, well, what goes with Hollywood Bob? I mean, my name's Bob Starr. It's a star, and that, boom, and we're off, because then WCW was the one that changed it, because when Pillman and Austin got teamed up as the Hollywood Blondes, it was horrible. I had the exact same trunks as what they were going to wear, but I had already been wearing them. And my boss came to me and he said, hey, I need you to change this. This is why. And then we got to drop the Hollywood thing. And I was like, that's fine, whatever. I mean, I was just happy having a job. A lot of guys, like, they're like, oh man, you should have did this and did that. I'm like, listen, I had to pay rent. I had to do whatever.
You understood your role.
Right. For many years, I got to do what I wanted to do and pay my bills and live okay. No, I never got rich, but you know what? My bills always got paid. You know what I mean? And it's like, when they came to me with that, it's funny because I went from wearing like the nylon K&H wrestling wear, and I met this designer, my tag team partner, Lucifer, Tim Burke.
I remember Tim.
He had met this lady named Della Lotman, who was amazing with a needle and thread. And she made all of our tights. But I went to her and I said, listen, I need to figure out a way. I need 3 outfits. So that way I'm not wearing the same stuff on TV, for at least 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And he made me 3 outfits: purple and pink, teal and pink, and blue, and it doesn't have white in it, but it's red, white, blue. Instead of white, it has black. Instead of or red and black or whatever. And I wear a Stars and Stripes leather jacket with it. But and back then, I mean, it was like, I'm gonna say I paid $500 for all 3 outfits, and it came with jackets and everything. And it's funny because I'm still wearing them outfits. That was 1993.
Good quality back then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this lady knew what she was doing. I wish I could find somebody that could make stuff like that now.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff you see now is really cheap looking. Like, you see a lot of guys just wearing like makeshift, like looking like, I hear a lot of like indie guys, like you like say Matt Cardona, for example, he'll say, if you want to look like a superstar, then invest the money into the gear.
Right.
And, not saying you have to go all out, but at least get some good looking gear, because if you look like a star, then guess what? People will treat you like a star. But if you look like shit, they're going to treat you like shit.
Yeah. When you walk into a building, and I'm not saying nothing bad about any of the indie guys, I totally get it. I was there, But when I walk into a building and I put my stuff on and I walk out in front of that crowd, and you got all these guys that are wearing shorts or beat up shit or like sweatpants with stuff stitched on it or something, and they see me, they instantly think that's a pro wrestler, amateur wrestler. You know what I mean? Like that, he's not a pro yet. And it cracks me up, but you're 100% right, because you have to portray what you are. Like, okay, so if I work at Wall Street and I come to work in a tank top and shorts every day, I don't think I'm going to make any money. But if you dress the part and you look the part, you're good at what you do, you make money. Same.
Perception's everything. Perception's everything. So,
especially in today's society.
Yeah. So your trainer, when you got in, I also read that he was murdered months after you started training. Is that right?
It was about 6 months into it. He was messing with this young girl, and the way the story was told to us, her brother came to his house with a 12 gauge, and he was literally trying to scare him. But the thing was, and I think what got him life in prison was, okay, if we're going to scare him, you would bring an empty gun. He brought a fully loaded 12 gauge. And Jimmy, when he opened the door, he grabbed at it naturally because the guy's got a gun. He blew his fingers off, slammed the door shut, and he shot a second time, and he hit him in the chest. And that was ball game.
Holy shit.
At that time, I had, I'm going to say maybe a half a dozen matches. And Axl was there because me and Axl Rotten trained together. And it just became the buddy system, man. Like, if somebody called me to book me, I'd be like, hey, did you get Axl? Or Axl would do the same kind of stuff. And we all kind of did. Back then, it was a brotherhood. It's not like that today. Like, they're all friends and stuff, but it was different because we had to depend on each other back then 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And, because, dude, we would drive 7-8 hours to do a show for $50. That was just the business. That's the way it was. And, I mean, it still is that way, sort of. But you don't see 6 or 8 guys in a car anymore. You see 2, which it's insane because with gas prices nowadays, I don't see how the hell they make it. But I mean, a lot of the guys that are doing real well in the indies, working all the time, they have really good jobs at home, and they're not depending on wrestling to pay their bills. They hope to be a major star, but if they don't, they're at least going to have a good time. You know what I mean?
Do you think because, like we were saying earlier, like the game has changed so much for like the, I guess, particular wrestlers that make it, so to say, because it isn't just about the indie star that can break out and become the next big signee anymore. It's about the NIL deal that they sign from, the gymnast squad or the NFL player or whatever. Like, they're pulling from all different places. So these are all different categories that you now, as an independent wrestler, if that's your dream, you now have to compete with people that aren't even in wrestling.
Well, not only that, but if you really think about it, okay, so I've got NXT on in the background because they're live, and everybody I've seen here, like right now, I don't know who this chick is. She's new blonde. Like, here's the thing. These guys and girls at NXT aren't making squat compared to the Randy Ortons, the Cody Rhodes, stuff like that. Everybody makes amazing money nowadays, okay? However, when you really think about it, there's really only like 6 or 8 guys and girls that are way up top. Your Charlotte Flairs, your what the hell's the name? Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, I heard, actually was the #1 paid girl in the company for a while. And I don't know if that's because Charlotte was hurt, but I know Charlotte is either 1 or 2. You know what I mean? The other girls are all filling. They're all underneath. Like, some are making $100,000 a year, 125, 150 grand a year. But Charlotte's making $1 million a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's such a big gap between these people now. And it's like, and it's cool because everybody's happy. They're all making money. The NXT people, like, I know a couple of them from Baltimore that were down there, and like, they were doing well. It just got to a point where it was really hard to live on the money you're making. People don't understand. So the way I got paid back in the day was you got a guarantee and then a percentage of the house. So you got, like at WWF, you got $200 a day and then a percentage of the house. So if I'm doing a house show and I'm on third match, it was a different percentage for each match, right? All the way up to the main event. And the main event, of course, got the biggest piece of the pie. So if I was on third match, I may get a $200 guarantee and then make another extra $175 to $375, let's say.
Nice.
And that's really good money back then. But now, when you think about it, you never know what you're going to get paid because, and Vince controlled everything anyway. Because think about it. Who's to say it's none of our business what that house drew, like the actual real number? But somehow or another, somebody would always hear or get close to it because guys could count. I've never seen, like Arn Anderson, he blew me away a few times. Like we would be standing on the stage in Baltimore, right here in our hometown, and he'd look through that curtain and he'd look around and he'd almost tell you how many people were in them seats. Like, because he had so many times and he had seen it completely sold out and he'd seen it really light. You know what I mean? And they had to do that because that way they kind of know what their checks are going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
trying to make sure they're not getting, the envelope isn't a little light at the end of the day.
Well, I can tell you a funny story. So, well, it's not really funny, but Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express will tell stories about when they released this was before you were born. It was they released a 45 track album, right? People that know what record players are. And it was called Boogie Woogie Dance Hall. And they didn't get shit. The Crockett's released it. The Crockett's got paid for it. The T-shirts, the original T-shirts, you couldn't keep Rock and Roll Express T-shirts in the concession stand.
I heard Ricky talking about that recently. How a lot of that merch that you're saying during the Crockett years, they made no money off of that shit, and they're just like, damn, if we would have got. He's like, we'd have been good. We'd have been good just off the merch alone. But he's like, the way merch was back then, it was just like. They didn't think about it, I guess, to think like, hey, how many did we sell? How many how many's going out to kind of protect themselves? But
and if it was at WCW when I first went there, they didn't have merchandise deals. They didn't really have merchandise deals down there until the NWO came and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash explained to them how to do it. They had no clue. They did have a merchandise catalog, but it was very small. And of course, the top guys, like when Hogan was there, obviously Hulk gets his cut, because he's a businessman. He knows what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why he left AWA in the first place, is because arguing with Vern over T-shirt sales. And he saw the vision. He understood that he's making let's get for real, like maybe anywhere from 20 to 30 grand a show. So. Why does he need more money? Why? Because they sold $75,000 worth of T-shirts, and they sold another $20,000 worth of stupid foam fingers. So if you're selling all this shit with my name on it, and it's because I'm here, then I should get a piece of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then came them stupid action figures. Good Lord, that is a whole nother world.
Changed the game, right?
I actually have my very first action figure. It's getting ready to be released by US Pro Wrestling. But dude, the difference is when the WWE orders these figures, they pay pennies. The promoter that is got this whole deal for their figures, it's like $60 just for one figure. That by the time you made and have it painted and have it packaged and all that shit, it's just amazing what the business has turned into, because now it's all about sponsors. If you look at the WWE, I guarantee the old man is turning in his grave, because his ring was spotless always.
I mean, what do you think Vince thinks about it? I'm sure he's not happy about it either, just because it's that tradition. I don't like it, honestly. But then I'll have people say like, oh, what do you think about UFC? You don't have a problem with UFC? I was like, yeah, but like, we've always seen UFC in that way. We always see, UFC and boxing, yeah, same thing. So it's
a lot of money, bro. Like if you like, people don't understand. Like when I was there was ring aprons, right? There were material. Now there's video walls around the underneath of the ring. Like it's insane, and every single one of them have a different advertisement on it. And then
they've done it at a bunch of shows recently with the weapons too. Like the weapons now are Slim Jim tables.
Oh yeah, it's stupid.
Slim Jim.
It's amazing that every table that comes out from underneath the ring says Slim Jim.
It's just like it kind of takes a little bit of the essence away from it being like, it kind of makes it hokey. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I'll be honest with you, I'm actually shocked that more alcohol companies haven't been allowed into it, and I'm shocked that a marijuana company's not in it. They have on SummerSlam, Mike's Hard. They were pumping out Mike's Hard lemonade. And Wheatley vodka was another one. So I think they're slowly trying to get back into like how it used to be with all the alcohol and, you know, like you said, maybe one in there one day. That'd be dope. I'm talking about like Hogan put his face on a can of beer, right?
Yeah.
And like he has absolutely nothing to do with that. He has nothing to do with how they make it. That he just licenses his name and license to them or whatever and makes millions.
Yep.
And that's where all these kids are, you know, a lot of people for a little while were trying to get pro wrestling because they looked at it as a springboard to go into the movies. Now, they don't need to go to the movies, most of them. Like some of these guys, like, God, what is his name? I feel so stupid. He was just on last night. He was in the main event of Raw with Seth. LA Knight.
Oh, okay. Yep.
He's from Hagerstown, bro.
Yep.
You know, and he's just like all of us. Like he's the nicest guy, and like so happy to see him he's getting his due finally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'd say off somebody because it started and it stopped, and now thank God it's back because the kid is really good. He's the second coming of Steve Austin. When you get that crowd chanting like that and saying every one of your lines every single night, it's like, holy shit. Like Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is probably the smartest poker player that I've ever seen in my life. The last time I saw Cody, he was probably about 14 or 15. He was backstage at center stage with his dad. God bless the dream, man. That was my buddy. Dusty always talked good about me on TV. And I would have never in a million years thought that, because when I saw him do what was it called? Stardust or whatever.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it would work. I didn't think he would make it, but he was so smart in the way he played himself. And when Khan came along with AEW and him leaving, and everybody's like, Cody, what the fuck are you doing? You're making great money. And he's like, nope. And he knew exactly what he wanted to do. And look at him now. He's on top of the world. And I'm proud of him. And I know it means nothing coming from me, but I know it's true that his dad is up there smiling down because Dusty, that was his pride and joy, was his boys. And like to see them and see Dustin. I mean, Dustin, I can't believe that he's still working at the highest level. Like he is way up there, high level. And with his age and how many matches, all the Gold Dust stuff, all the Dustin Rhodes stuff. I was there at the Baltimore Arena when he first did his first loop around the thing. He was doing like bunkhouse battle royals, and they weren't on the card, or if they were in like a tag match kind of thing. And I want to say it was Kendall Windham and Dustin Rhodes were the tag team. And it's like, so I've seen Dustin his entire career. Then I got the pleasure of working with him in WCW for a while. Then he left and went and became Gold Dust. It was the same thing. When I was there, I watched everybody leave and go become big stars. Like they were stars at WCW, but Vince, the WWE is the promotional machine. They crank it out. And it's like nobody can have anything but respect for them. Like whether you like their product or not, it is, if you want to be in this business, that is the only place to be to make major money. Like because you're useless to Tony Khan until you are a major star.
Yeah.
You mean like he can get away with paying guys less money when they're not a major star, but to put the eyes on your TV, you've got to have that major superstar. And like when I was there, when I first started in WWF, and all the guys were major stars. The Junkyard Dog, Andre was leaving, Big John Studd, good Jesus Christ, Haku was doing King Tonga back then. You know, the Islanders with Tama. Like all these guys were major stars, and to this day, if they go, if Junkyard Dog was alive, I guarantee you, any Comic-Con, any any of that shit, he'd be the number one person to get autographs. People would lose their shit. Dog was just one of them people that could talk, and he had that charisma about him. And it's like I never thought he was the greatest wrestler in the world, but bottom line, at that time, being the major black superstar, dude, when he would come to Baltimore, the entire place was on their feet. It was crazy. They could put a Dog on the B show, put Hogan on the A show. You know what I mean? Because he was getting that popularity was coming up just like Hulk was. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I think guys today don't have that type of aura or whatever. You know, they don't have that superstardom that you look at that guy, like you said earlier, like, oh, that's a star. That guy can draw. He can bring people in. Like,
yeah, I mean, if you can't talk, you can't draw a house.
Yeah,
You greatest wrestler in the world, and I'm going to say this, and I'll probably get kicked in the ass for it, but it's meant in a lovable way. Lance Storm, amazing fucking wrestler, absolutely amazing, but he was kind of bland.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So you could be an amazing wrestler with all this talent, but if your interview thing isn't happening and it doesn't pop, then you're not going to bring the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he got for long. I don't know where Lance is now, but it's like he had a job for a very, very long time.
Hey, I think he was doing producing and agent type work, but I think he might be training or something last I heard, but I don't know exactly what he's doing.
Right.
But what
he went to, did he go to TNA for a while?
I'm not sure. I feel like he was up in, I don't know if he's in Canada or not, but I might be mistaken, because I feel like he went up somewhere up there with some school.
Right.
Or maybe he has his own school or something like that.
It may be that it's his. I mean, but like I said, don't get me wrong. I'm not ribbing him. I'm not fucking with him.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Such an amazing talent, but his interview skills, it just didn't, the interview thing didn't happen for him.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to tell you, one of the best workers in the entire business that never got his due is Brad Armstrong. You know, the Armstrong boys as a whole, I wrestled every one of them, and every single one of them were absolutely amazing. But because they were willing to do anything, and they did jobs when they were asked to do jobs, and they would do this or do that, they never got the major pushes. Like Brad got to work with Ric Flair a few times on TV, and that was great, and it did great when he went to the independents, but it never got him paid $700,000 a year. You know what I mean? It's like he always, but the Armstrong boys always had a job. You know,
I've always heard that too about him, that he was always a great worker, could work hell of matches, but like you said, just couldn't, I don't know if it was couldn't connect or just didn't relate to the fans or what it was that didn't get him there. But
the thing with that, I know for a personal thing, Brad was absolutely hilarious when we would be sitting in the hotel rooms. Like Nick Patrick, the referee, is like a chef. So we'd all hook up and hang out at their room, and Nick would like cook dinner and stuff like that. And we'd have like these amazing pasta meals and all this other stuff. Brad was absolutely hilarious there. But it was just something about, I don't know, when that red light came on and that camera was I thought he always did good, but I'm not the one that's handing out the paycheck. You know what I mean? I don't remember him fumbling or stumbling, but it just, and a lot of it, if it was WWF at that time, they weren't into Southern guys anyway. If you had a Southern twang to your voice, you were done. Like they didn't like that at all. And that was one of Vince's things. But when you're at Vince's company, you do what Vince likes. And when you want to do something different, you go to Crockett. You know, I mean, it's kind of like these independents that we started off talking about. It's the MEWF was a company that was founded by a few friends, and all we ever wanted to do was do a wrestling show at a fire hall. But in order to do that, we had to get a license, and we had to get ring bearers, and we had to do all this other bullshit with bonds. Well, if you're going to do all that, then you have to run shows just to feed that debt, and to be able to do it again next year. So then we started running shows, and then and you were there as a young kid, but bro, we had shows like literally there was more wrestlers than there was fans sometimes. Yeah. And it just like, and then another group, a group of our guys bailed and went to another thing, and boom, now we have MCW. So now you have one group on one side of the Key Bridge, one group on the other side of the Key Bridge. You get what I'm saying?
That's what I wanted to ask you was, so what was the wrestling scene like in Maryland when you started out? Was MEWF the first one you started like getting in? Okay.
MEWF was way down the road.
Okay.
Dude, back when I started, if you wrestled, and this is the God honest truth, if you wrestled a dozen times a year, you were doing good. Because there was not all these shows that there is now. Nothing like that.
And that would be once a month, right? For the most part.
Well, that's a good promotion. That's a really good promotion. Back then, they might run 2 shows a year, 3 shows a year, one promoter, right? Dick Karakoff was way back. He was way before MEWF as far as his promoter's license goes. Dick Worley, a famous referee that was around back in the day, he got a promoter's license. He ran shows here. And there was several other promoters. Honestly, I'm forgetting their names now because it's been so long ago. But it's like these kids today don't understand how easy it is for them. How easy it is for them to get photographs to sell on the table. Like, because there's 5 photographers there. And, yeah, you give them $10 or whatever, and they send you a photo file, and you copy it as many times as you want. Dude, we couldn't get photos of us back then. You know, my ex-girlfriend, Lisa, bought a 35 millimeter camera. Well, then she became very popular with everybody because then she could take photos and give them a copy of the picture that they would take to get copied because nobody else had a camera like that.
Right.
I mean, and she put out, I mean, it was back then, it was probably $600 or $800. Now it's like tucking 6,000 or 7,000 for the crazy ass cameras that we get.
Some of them are like giant lenses on them. You know, it's like
it's absolutely insane because I shoot rock concerts too as a hobby, and I've got like 6 SLRs downstairs. And the funny thing is, the phone that I'm using to do this interview has a 200 megapixel camera on it. Okay. The biggest megapixel camera I have downstairs is like 24.5 or something. So it's absolutely insane, this technology shit that happens now. Like I said, I try to make sure these kids know it too, because they don't get it. We didn't have phones that we could, flip the switch and cut a promo and send it to a promoter. We had to put fucking tape in the VCR and copy shit, and it was such a pain in the ass. And it's like the lighting and the smoke and all this other stuff that they add, even to like NXT. It's insane. And these guys don't realize that they didn't have to work to get that. It was there when it was there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like for them to put your name up on the big screen or have a video playing of your matches or highlights or something, that stuff's insane compared to what we had to deal with back when I started. Yeah. And I know guys that started like way before me, and they had nothing. That nothing, no theme music, no nothing. You put on a pair of trunks, pair of boots, you walk out to the ring, get your ass beat. And it's like, it's like, I'm just glad, like I said, with me with the indies now, it's all about giving back. Mm-hmm. I mean, no, I didn't make millions, but I made good money, and I got to do things that they won't. And I think that with the right coaching, if they would just listen, these guys are going 1,000 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. They've got to get every hot spot they know in every friggin' match. They got to do this. They got to, take the bumps to the floor. It's like, you idiots, if you would slow down and listen. No wrestling show needs 4 matches flying off the top rope to the floor, doing all that, because once they've seen it once, they don't need to see it again. Yep. Right? So it's wrestling. And if you get hurt doing that dumb shit, then what did you make? Because independent wrestlers don't get paid a whole lot. You know what I mean? Now they miss time from their real job, which pays their bills. They, they're hobbling around crippled, by the time they're 30. Like, at least I made it to 54 before my back's giving me a fit now. But it's like, I'm back in the ring. It's funny because the longer I was out of the ring, the more my back hurt. But as soon as I got back in the ring, it felt better.
Started a little better.
It starts to ache. Yeah, because it's so used to. I started at
body in motion,
like 14, maybe right before I was 15. So my body is so used to being beat to death, and every time I hit the mat, it kind of resets my spine, kind of thing. Yeah. And it's like, but these kids now with the shit they do to everybody said ECW was crazy. Nah, at the time they were crazy, but this shit they do now, like I had a very well-known star come up to me a few weeks ago, and we were talking out back in the building, and he was like, I don't understand. He goes, back in our day, he goes, we did absolutely everything we could to make everybody in that audience believe it was real. not hurt each other, and go to the next town and make money. He said, now it looks like shit and they're killing each other. He goes, I don't get it. He goes, did anybody fill them in? I'm like, no, I don't think so. I said, I'm trying slowly. But, and when you think about it, it's true. Like we just spoke a minute ago, you have superstars. Hulk Hogan is a actually, he's a mega star. He's above the superstars. But let's just say, all right, and I almost put Macho Man in the same category as him, but Macho Man was below Hogan. So say on the Macho Man level, they were all superstars. Now they're just wrestling stars because you could win the fucking Intercontinental title now. God forbid, have a heart attack in 3 years. They don't even remember who you are. Like I usually tell you, every world champion, every tag team champion, blah, 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 blah. I have no clue. I heard
it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yep. I heard somebody at an indie show one night bring up the name Lance Cade. I don't know if you remember him.
Yep, I remember Lance.
Lance won the World Tag Team titles.
With Trevor Murdoch, right?
Yep, with Trevor. Trevor's an amazing person. But,
still wrestling.
Yep. I think he's in Missouri.
I think he does NW. I think he's NWA tag team champion.
Is he
Mike Knox?
When you're talking about the NWA with Billy Corgan?
Yeah.
I think good. He deserves it. He's a hell of a worker. But those guys were tag team champions. Lance, I don't remember. I know his demise was not good. I don't remember exactly what it was, whether it was like an OD or if
I think it was something to that nature. And
people don't remember him. Like these guys, they came up in the dressing room and everybody's like, who's Lance Cade? And I'm thinking, what? He was a world tag team champion.
Yeah.
How do you know who he was? But it's gotten worse because, like, for instance, look at AEW. God love Tony Khan because if he wouldn't have came along when he did, the business needed competition.
Yeah.
And him and his father are the only ones that can provide competition at that level. No slight to Billy Corgan at all because he spent millions in the business. You know, to keep NWA alive. And with all these other guys, Dan McDevitt, Dennis Whipwreck for MCW, I'm telling you, I would love to see the numbers added up because I know they've spent like insane money to make that product. That's why people just don't understand. Like, they'll bitch about a ticket price. And I agree. A lot of ticket prices at wrestling are fucking insane. When I started going, there were $6, $8, and $12 for tickets in the Baltimore arena. The last time I saw ticket prices for there, I think the top tickets were like $95 or something shit. And I'm thinking, fuck, that was enough to go to like 5 shows back in the day. You know what I mean? It's like, but understand the trucks, the crew, what the boys get paid, what the buildings get paid, what the commitments get paid. It's
so much overhead.
It's absolutely insane. And I mean, for the guys that can do these really big promotions and stuff, I my hat's off to him. Brian Hardy runs a company called USW, and he's in Seaford, Delaware right now. And it is a mom and pop company. It is a family company. And I'll be honest with you, I would love to work on the top thing only because of the payoff. But if it was really what I like to do, I would rather work for Brian and Kayla Hardy because I've known him since he was a baby, kind of like you, same thing. It's like Uncle Bob to a lot of people, you know what I mean?
Like an uncle.
Yep. And like, I would do anything for these kids to help them just get their start and see their dreams. You know, like I've went through so many promoters over the years that either they slight you on your money or God forbid, they just don't pay you at all. They say, hey, I'll catch you next time. I used to love to hear that shit. This kid has never, ever, ever not paid people what he promises, not provided what he promises. He's a diamond in the rough, and it's stuff that you don't see every day, right?
Yeah.
The kids for the House of Pain, they bust their ass at their daytime jobs to be able to make these shows happen. Fans don't understand that. If it wasn't for a select few, it's their money that stuffed the envelopes, right? So if the money doesn't come back through the door, they lose.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? And fans have to understand that. I mean, I get it. Everybody has something to do, and you might have to miss a show or whatever. But like, if you can bring friends that love wrestling or like wrestling, the place to go is the independents.
Yep.
Because everybody's struggling on independents, trying to make it to there. My personal thought is, if you don't go to NXT, you're not going to get on WWF TV. Not as a star, you know, unless you come in from Japan as a huge star. You know what I'm saying? Like you. The only way into that company, if you're not already a big star from somewhere else, is through NXT. If you can't get into NXT, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that before. It used to be you go up there, you do a TV or two, you do a tryout as a match that's like even, and if they like what you're doing or they like the character, they hire you. It doesn't work that way anymore.
Yeah, it's completely changed. Like I was saying, like how they choose and what they choose and what they're looking for. Like you said, you can't just go there, have a good match, or do a couple spots and be like, hey, we could use this guy here. It's like, nope, we got 20 other guys like that or whatever.
Well, here
I wanted to ask you about MEWF and MCW.
Right.
So they were definitely like the hotbeds for the East Coast when you were getting into the independents. What do you think set them apart from each other? Like MEWF came first, right? Or no?
MEWF came first, and it was more of the mom and pop company.
Okay.
Because it was Donna and Tim Burke Promotion, or Donna Burke Promotion. Tim and his wife owned it with Dennis Whipwreck. Then it honestly, it was all about advertising. It was, you can't invent money. So we didn't have money to do a whole lot of like television commercials and newspaper ads and stuff like that, which is the way you advertised back then. There was no internet. There was nothing of the sort, right? So what happened was it kind of ate itself. Guys like your dad, Maddog Buzz Stryker, there was a select few guys over the years that had tons of friends. So when they got into the wrestling business, they could sell a shitload of tickets. If it wasn't for them, these companies wouldn't have existed in the infancy. Where MCW, when that was first put together with Mark Schrader and Dan McDevitt, I didn't look at it as a family kind of company, even though it was. They were like brothers, you know, whatever. But it was a business, like it was like the next step. Mm-hmm. And the thing is they had a lot of capital to start with, and they spent money, bro. These guys spend money. Let me tell you, the posters they buy, the advertisement, all the internet stuff. Dan McDevitt is a shrewd.
So you guys were MEWF and MCW were complete rivals when they were in the beginning years, right? So you guys didn't do business. They didn't do business together at all.
No, and nobody worked. No one could work on a MCW show if they worked for us, and vice versa. The first time I went to an MCW show was when Shane Shamrock passed away. And I went there out of respect. And I stood in the dressing room and felt totally uncomfortable, even though I know 90% of the guys there. But it was like WWF, WCW. They didn't mix, right?
Mm-hmm.
I walked out to that ring when they did the 10-bell salute. The look on the fans' faces like, what the fuck is Bob doing here? You know what I mean? Like, literally.
Yeah.
And but the thing was, like I said, bro, none of us had ill will. It was just different business shit that happened, and politics. And like over the years, we've all ended up working together. When MCW folded, so to speak, the MEWF took their people in that actually became MCW again.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, because Dennis Whipwreck sat out for a while. He got married or whatever, and he sat out. And then Tim Burke passed away, right? They'd stopped running shows. I don't remember if it was under the MCW banner. We all came together as one, sort of, because MCW had decided to close their school and fold. Well, MEWF was running out of money, but we somehow or another, it all came together as one. And then Tim passed away, and it was Dennis and Danny. Mm-hmm. And Mark Schrader was out of the equation as far as ownership. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like I said, to this day, like when I walk in there, it's like being welcomed home by the boys and everybody. But when I watch the show, the amount of production that they do, they have the agents, they have all the other shit. They have the training center, right?
It's almost like its own version of NXT to talk about NXT, in my opinion, of like what they have going on over there, like an indie version of that, sort of say.
I thought I had heard something about Jim Ross, or somebody had said something about them being a feeder to NXT or whatever, but I haven't seen or heard anything. I don't know. Maybe you could help me because you watch a lot more than I do, I'm sure. But what was the deal where they had the wrestlers that were like, they were going around doing indie shots, but they were under contract to WWE?
It's called WWE ID. So basically, it's in my opinion, WWE's way of signing independent guys. They're paying them like maybe 26 to 30 something thousand a year, where they can, maybe get some more meals, get some real gear, get some more bookings, where they don't have to work as much during a shoot job. But it's also WWE's way of saying, like, I have first dibs on you when it's time for you to either go try to sign with AEW or wherever. We're gonna get first dibs as long as you're under that WWE ID. But you're still not technically a WWE guy. You can work forever besides AEW, I'm sure.
Right. No, and I mean,
it's good and it's bad, I guess.
Yeah, when there's that much money to be had, like WWE, and now, like I said, I don't totally understand the whole business breakdown of it, but the money there is endless now.
Yeah.
When they brought up by the UFC people have money just dripping out of their pockets. They're slamming.
They've completely changed it.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. WWE or WWF back in the day was running one pay-per-view a month. They were running 26, 28 house shows. Now they run 1 or 2 house shows, maybe 3 or 4. They're called super shows, which have SmackDown and Raw people on it. And they're running a pay-per-view every 2 weeks. Well, they're making 10 times the money now than they did then. Okay? UFC does it every single week and have been doing it every single week for how long?
So my thing is, I'm a huge UFC fan. And I feel like they've done this to UFC and are going to do the same thing to WWE, where they've ran out all the stars. They've crushed everybody. They've crushed everything. And so everyone's just, they look the same. They do the same moves. It's like, it's so saturated. And it's almost like watching TKO now do the same thing to WWE in some sense. Like there's a lot of good stuff too. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want to sound like a total hater, but, I just feel like if you watch what happened to UFC and how it is now, how it used to be, it's very similar to what they're doing to WWE now that they're under the same, umbrella. So I'm curious to see how time will tell on how things play out.
The little difference that I can tell you is that there's a few hundred people on the roster for WWE. UFC, the big stars, the ones that really draw those ratings or really draw the points on pay-per-view, there's not that many. Like,
no. Think about that. They have like hundreds of people that are signed under the UFC banner that you don't even know who they are. And that's the thing. It's just like, they just think because, these guys are, the more the product that they can put out. And I feel like that's the direction TKO is trying to make wrestling. And not that that's a bad thing, because people are trying to consume as much as they can. But I think to a point or to an extent, it also dilutes the product and makes it less quality than what we're getting, which is a lot of quantity and just shoving it out there.
Right, you get a ton of shows. Well, here's the thing: they want the guys to get better. Okay, how are you supposed to get better when every fucking time you're in the ring there's a TV camera? Right, that's what house shows did. You would go on a house show loop before a pay-per-view and work the same guy for 27 days straight, right? So you're going to get your shit together and have a really good match by the time it's time for the pay-per-view. Now, you got maybe, I guess call time's probably 11 a.m. at TV, maybe noon. So you got from noon till showtime to work out this match with someone you may have never worked with before. Like before, no one ever stepped in the ring at WWF unless they had done dark matches or done road matches. Because when you first come in, that's the first. I did house shows for WWF, and it's like I took X-Spot's place for a while and wrestled Nikolai Volkov every night like all across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. It's like you just don't. It's not. There's no training grounds for them anymore. We need a Memphis. We need NXT. And NXT really does. I mean, I keep track, and I always have. It's just a stupid thing I've always done. I kept track of dates of where the company is, and I have like date books that I write all this shit down, and it's just I just look at it. And when I was young, I learned how they book the tours. Like they would go from they would do Baltimore at say 2, Boston at 8. They would do Philly the next day at 2. Then they would do Toronto at 8. Like that was kind of the loop they would do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the Cap Center and believe it or not, Detroit and the Cap Center. I don't understand that, but I'm guessing it's because they had straight through flights from Detroit to Baltimore or into Baltimore. But like they don't do any of that shit anymore. It's become so expensive for them to do it that they lose money every time they go out. So I just do the TVs and make millions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
UFC, same thing. They can't do house shows because they kill each other.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely a money grab for sure. I wanted to ask you something though, and you might even know like this event. I've seen it not too long ago. Those who are from the Maryland area, they know Lou Levy, old athletic commissioner from back in the day. And he was like in the end or the beginning of one of these WCW shows. It was like in the early 90s, and you could just see him. It wasn't planned. He's just like staggering into like the camera shot, the camera view. I wish I would have pulled it up or screenshot it, which one it was, but it was like typical Lou, just like doing his own thing. Like, do you have any good Lou Levy stories from back in the day? Like he was even me as a kid. Like I remember what a character he was. He would always mess with me and always have something to say. Like
always messing your dad too.
Yeah.
Lou would yell at me every show for getting on a microphone and give me Bob, can we do it for 2 minutes instead of a half an hour? You know, Lou was a very special person. He was the first commissioner that ever gave me a wrestling license. And he at that time he didn't have to. It wasn't like it is today. You just go in and sit down. He could have said, you know, he asked questions, whatever. Lou's an ex-boxing guy. And I was at, it was a few of us, but I was at his service when he passed away because I respected him that much. Lou, I was at the Baltimore Arena for the Great American Bash when Flair wrestled, I think it was Luger. And Luger got color, and Lou stopped the match. And the place went fucking bananas. And because they didn't understand what the athletic commission can do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that because we always used to beat them. Don't go out there and stop the match, God damn it. It'll be all right, Lou. But Lou, there was a few of us, Danny McDevitt, myself, Timmy, your dad. There was a bunch of us that could sit down and talk to Lou and be like, listen, I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to. All he was ever worried about was somebody getting hurt, which I respect that. You know what I mean? I didn't at the time, but I do now. I understand. Yeah. And Lou Levy was an amazing person, man. He could tell stories. He used to carry a picture of him and Macho Man that they took at either the Cap Center or at the Baltimore Arena, and it would be briefcase. And he had several pictures in the briefcase, and he was just a lovable. He was like Grandpa. You know
I remember a story. So we went to I think it was a SmackDown house show. It might not have been a house show, but we were sitting on the floor, and my dad seen Lou. He's like, "Hey, wait here." He goes and gets Lou, and he tells. I think he told me, he's like, "Hey, it's your birthday. If Lou asks anything, you know what I mean." He goes and gets Lou. He's like, "Hey, Lou, it's my son's birthday. You know, we're blah blah blah." He's like, I don't know if you could help us out or whatever. He's like trying to get us backstage. Lou's like, "Is it your birthday, son?" You know how he's always yelling about everything. I was like, "Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is." So he's like, all right. Well, you just hang tight. We're gonna get you backstage." And like he got us backstage, and I think we met like Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio, Chavo, and it was just like one of those things you don't forget. You know what I mean? It's just like you would see him at all the shows, all the MCW shows, all the MEWF shows.
He outlasted everybody that I remember because we had a guy named Ray Iannucci, and God love him, I don't remember the other guy's name because when I started, it was D. Chester O'Sullivan was the head chairman, and Chester. I remember we got in trouble one time for doing something, and we got called down to the office. And we showed up there, and he looked at us, and he's just shaking his head, and he literally was upset. Not like pissed off at us, upset that we violated the rules, so he has to do something. And he was like, boys, he goes, I know you're trying your best, but you just can't do that. And I don't have a choice, but whatever. And we got fined for something. I forget what the shit it was. And it's not like that anymore. The lady that runs the commission here now, I don't really know her. I've only met her once. She has a couple of good people that work for her. But it's not the same thing as back when Lou Levy was in charge. Lou was, all the boys knew Lou, from Hulk Hogan, Andre, all the NWA guys. They all knew Lou. I mean, because Lou was there back when the blade was used, openly, and it wasn't spines and all that shit. So like he had to make sure guys got taken care of. In fact, D. Chester O'Sullivan. I mean, a lot of the older guys know this story, but you may not in the younger crowd. D. Chester O'Sullivan was the one. Tully Blanchard went to him, and they were doing these barbed wire matches all over the country. And he's all cut up, and he was pissing and moaning and bitching. And because of that, D. Chester O'Sullivan banned blood in the state of Maryland. Before that, it was open season, right? And like guys would get cut up every night. And it's like, bottom line, red brings green. That's how we were taught. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But no, it's so amazing that you brought Lou Levy's name up. It was such a great guy.
I knew that would be a good little memory because, like I said, I know you guys obviously dealt with him all the time, but even me as a kid, I remember he was like, he always had to bust my balls as a little kid. I'm like, God, what do I do, Lou? That's how he was. He didn't care. You came in his path. He had something for you. You know what I mean?
He's a legend in this state, and it's sad because people go back on like whatever platform and watch all the old shows, and they'll see him, but they have no clue.
That's what I'm saying. It was an old WCW recently, and I was like, oh shit, it's Lou. Like, how cool is that? You know what I mean? And like, he was the guy. He looked the same, no matter what. When you seen him, he looked the same.
I remember in Baltimore in a cage. I think it was a house show. It was Terry Funk and Flair, and they both got color after Lou told them not to. Oh, Jesus Christ. He lost his mind. And I think they fined Flair like $10,000. And but to him at the time, that was shit, right? And but Lou like just lost his shit because I can't believe you did this to me. You son of a bitch. He like I said, he reminded me of the grandpa I never had. My grandfather passed away when I was very young. And Lou would sit there and he would talk to you, and he kind of, if he'd see you down and he had time or whatever, he would pep talk you kind of thing and stuff. And he always wanted to see everybody do good. You know what I mean? And that's how you knew, as we got a little bit older, we understood that he had the heart. It's just certain things he had to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that we're all old, we're like, thank God he did do that shit, or we would have killed each other.
Yeah, he's looking out for us.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to ask you though another question about like that era, so to say, of like MEWF. So I read that you were a booker for them for a while, right? Or was that always your role, or no?
No,
Okay.
It's from time to time, and that's the only way to really do it. Like, okay, so for instance, Memphis. Okay, Jerry Lawler would take the book for a while, and then they would have 2 or 3 other guys. Like they would change, because if you don't, you get stale. You only have so many ideas with the crew you're working with, right?
I think they used to say Jerry would only book during like basketball season, or what was it, the off season of basketball season, and then he would switch with somebody else because it was just like that was his time to focus on something else or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was something like that.
Well, he still worked all the shows. He just wasn't the booker.
Yeah.
And like with me, I took it over for a while. Like this, I don't want to say the second coming of the MEWF, but sort of like the second regime.
Okay.
Dennis had sat down for a while. Like I said, when he got married, he like kind of walked away from the business. You know what I mean? And we had to have respect for that. But we had a wrestling school, so we had to have kids. Right?
Yep.
So I would sit down with Tim Burke, and then after I did it, it was I think Drew Payne and Derek Frazier.
Wow.
Did
It's
it for,
weird. It's crazy hearing them names.
and I'm like, and it's so horrible because I don't know if you know all this, but I'm sure you heard that Derek Frazier passed away.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he hung himself, and actually
No.
his brother John, who was around back then too, Great Big John, he just passed away last year.
No shit.
Rain, if you remember him,
Yeah, he was my dad's partner.
he killed himself.
What?
Little Chris, that used to hang out with Rain, OD'd. Like we lost people from the MEWF. It's horrible, and I've been trying for years to get a
like a reunion.
Yeah, but not just a reunion. Just hey guys, let's have dinner. You know,
That would be awesome. Do you remember? I'm sure you used to go all the time. Do you remember going to the Driftwood Inn all the time, like after training school and shit like that? And
that was Timmy's favorite place in the world to go eat the Driftwood Triangle.
Driftwood was the shit.
What was it? It was tuna fish, shrimp salad, and some other shit. I don't know. It was fish or something, but he loved that place. Yeah, man. It was back in the day. Like it's not like that anymore anywhere, and it's like, and it's probably a good thing because like we went through a lot of money, and it took Timmy broke, and he put everything he had into it. Like, but the thing of it.
I screenshotted this. I want to bring it up. It's this is here we go. Hold on. This is you versus Gilberg. This is your footage, but I didn't want to get in trouble because I don't know like what the rules are with showing footage. But this is you as a heavyweight champion. This is me in the bottom left in the black T-shirt.
That was at the hall on Dundalk Avenue.
That's you. That's you right there in the middle, and that's me again in the black T-shirt, standing up as you were coming by.
That's classic.
And then same thing with Gilberg right here, me again in the black T-shirt. It's like,
well, here's the deal, dude.
That's your footage. That's your footage on YouTube. So that's where I got that from.
Right, but I'm saying I can give you any footage you ever want to use.
Okay.
If it has a problem, you tell them come see me. You can use anything.
Okay.
Like, footage is it's so hard to.
With me just getting into content, I was like, I don't know. Like, I didn't want to do it and then it get like flagged or something like that. I knew you would probably be cool with it, but I just like, let me just be safe. Yeah.
The guys from that time would be so flattered that you picked their footage out. You know what I mean?
Man. I went down a rabbit hole a few months ago of that footage and I watched so many matches. And it brings back so many memories. Just like seeing that, I was like, I wonder if I could spot myself. And I was like, there I was right there on the stage. I'm like, oh my God. And it's so crazy because it looks just like my son now. Like, and that's why I said, when you see him, you're going to be like, oh my God, it's little Zach. Like, it's mind blowing.
Oh, and he's Zach too?
No, he's not. He's not. His name's Leland, but he looks just like me at that age. Yeah. Yeah.
It's dude, we were a family show. I mean, bottom line, like your dad, when he joined, he brought his family, and Morgus the Maniac brought his family.
Yes. I just brought him up to my dad recently. I said, is Morgus still alive? Is he? He said, yeah, he's still doing well in Pasadena, is what he told me. So
he's had he got in a tractor trailer accident.
Oh, okay.
Because he drove tractor trailer, and he can't wrestle because. Like he went almost a year or so where they had to wait for the asphalt to work its way out of his skin. And they said that if he wrestled again, he could be paralyzed. So bad part is not long after that happened, his wife passed away. And if you remember as a young kid, his family was everything to him.
Yes.
I was at his father's service, who is buried in the same cemetery as Timmy, coincidentally, in Elkridge, Maryland. And I wasn't there when his mom passed. That was just recently, not a long, long time ago. But it's just, that was the thing. Everybody had their clique and their family, and we all came together, and we did everything we could in the MEWF to put off the best show. Did we advertise correctly? Probably not. Could we done better? Probably so. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't second guess it now because it's all water under the bridge. You know, because if it wasn't for the MEWF, there would be no MCW. If you look at the amount of stars that have come from MCW that went to the WWE. It's absolutely insane. The Hardy Boys, Lita, friggin' what was the guy's name? The brother that was with John Layfield for the longest time.
Ron, not Ron Simmons. Who you talking?
No. God, I can't remember his damn name. It's been so long. He was like his manager, but then he became
Orlando.
No, was from there. You had the referee right now, Jessica, the blonde referee from WWE, is from CW.
Patrick Clark was from there.
Patrick Clark was from there. Like they probably have turned out more major superstars. So if you look at the big scheme of things, when you were asking me about Maryland Independence, MCW wins the belt.
Yeah,
they've turned out more stars and done greater things. Now, true, it's a different time now than then, but like I said, man, everyone there works their ass off. It's like everyone from production to the kids that are from the school that have to sweep the place and set up the chairs, to the dentist making sure tickets and posters and blah 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 blah. It's a big machine. It reminds me sort of WWE, because everybody has a job and there's a whole bunch of them. You know what I mean? It's like they have their own podcast thing. I've been a guest on that. They
did. I watched a few episodes on there. I watched your episode on there. I don't know if they do. I don't think they do it anymore. So I don't know what's up with that. Because I know Larry was doing it for them for a while, but
Larry Legend.
Yeah.
I
don't think he does anything. I don't think he works with them anymore.
Well, I know Larry was doing boxing up in the Garden.
Yeah.
And he does
CZW now too.
Does he?
Yeah.
Larry is absolutely, dude. I don't know the last time you've seen him, but if you ever get a chance,
I haven't seen him since I was probably a teenager. So I'm gonna hopefully see him next month because I'm going to Tournament of Death. It'll be my first Tournament of Death for CZW, and I think he's gonna be there. Right. So if he's there, I gotta say something to him. So
you gotta try to spend some time with him. Larry is the funniest son of a bitch you ever met. I go over Ruckus' house, and out of nowhere, Larry pops in, and holy shit, you would swear we were legitimate all brothers. Like it's just everybody smoking, just having a good time and laughing ass off, and it's like he's such a good guy. And that's the thing, and everybody disappeared. I've kept in touch with several of the guys through the internet. And Maddog O'Malley.
Oh.
Big deal.
I'm so glad you said that name, because that's the next thing I wanted to ask you. Was I remember my dad having the VHS. I remember being there. Were you the booker, or what happened the night that Maddog O'Malley supposedly shot on Maddog Buzz Stryker? Because I remember seeing that video several times. How did it go down? What happened? I know my side of the story and what I've heard. I want to hear your side of the story.
Totally honest with you, bro. I've smoked a lot of weed in my life. I remember what you're talking about. I remember it happening, but I don't remember any of the particulars. Like no one was ever told to do it. But I know Brian was really pissed off, and we're thinking, dude, there can be two Mad Dogs. Fuck, we could make the Battle of the Mad Dogs, like whatever.
So what I was told then was, my dad always said that basically when he started off, they wanted him to use that name, and he was like, they said that there was another guy here that used the Mad Dog name, but he's not coming back anymore, so fuck him. And my dad was like, all right, well, whatever then, you know what I mean? And just went along with it. Well, then I guess when he came back, there was a bunch of rumors saying that he didn't like that there was another Mad Dog, and there was bad blood, and there was beef. Well, I guess they were fine going out there. Well, I guess somewhere going out until when they had that match, he tried to take liberties. And I remember the footage. Like, I don't know if you remember, or if you were out there or in the back, or if you were there that night at all. I don't even know.
I know I was there.
Okay. Well, what I remember visually seeing is that when they went outside, he like kind of pulled my dad under the bottom rope. And when he pulled him under the bottom rope, his arms and his neck were still up under there. And then he just started fucking wailing on him. And that's what my dad was like, all right, well, fuck, he's he's fucking shooting, so I gotta get out of here and do something. And that's when he's like, all right. And then that's when you just see him as a big schmozz, and then like the pull apart, and they try to like get them both to go to the back or whatever. And you could just see like Maddog O'Malley just sit back like, oh yeah, like he got the last laugh or whatever. But I remember my dad saying like he was waiting behind the curtain, like bring that motherfucker through, like you know what I mean. But I don't know if anything more happened after that. But that's what I
don't believe. I think it was a lot of the two of them with the mouth, but it was pulled backstage too. Because bottom line, we're all friends. You know, I mean, even if he was pissy about something. Now I can tell you. Do you remember what building that was in?
That was at the flea market, I think.
It was at the flea market. It wasn't at Teamsters Hall. See, that's where I get so blurry back then because of all that. We started at the Stony Creek Democratic Hall, and we ran one show a month for a year, and then we went to the Teamsters Hall, and then Timmy got in with the people at Teamsters Hall, so we only went to the Teamsters Hall. Then we went to the flea market. Then we went to that place where you just showed the pictures of you at that place on Avenue. Then
that's Bill's, isn't it? The Bingo Hall?
No, that's the one. That building is the one on Dundalk Avenue. Okay. It was a small hall because that's it. I ever wrestled Dwayne. I wrestled 3 times that night. Somebody had the stupid fucking idea that you had to, like, if I wrestled, if I lost the title. But I had to like run the gauntlet with these guys. And it was like, who came up with this shit? Like, I'm out there all night. And it's like, thank God I was young because I couldn't do that shit now. Yeah. But it was so much fun. And your dad he's like my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell everybody I have 2 best friends, Ruckus and your dad. Like, because your dad, like, if it wasn't for him, when I met him, when he was training and stuff, I started dating this girl that had 3 kids, Debbie. And, like, I needed a job. Jesus Christ, I was stealing trash and being a big bad pro wrestler and barely making my rent every month, right? And that's where he got me into this bread company. And 24 years later, I'm still in this damn bread company. He's down in Florida. He said, to hell with the bread company. Yeah. But it just, you know, I often wonder, I see these kids, they're friends and stuff, and they all play video games and all that bullshit. You know, you play video games through the internet. So, like, they don't even have to be at each other's house. But it was something about the crew getting together, doing a show. When the show's over, we're either going to Denny's to eat or we're going to Titty Bar. And, like, you know, it's 4:00 in the morning and you're shit-faced and you're like, I don't know where my hotel is, or I don't know where I'm sleep, whatever. And one of the boys would always make sure you're okay. Like it's not like camaraderie. Yeah, it's not like that anymore. Like these, like they get their little 6-pack and they get their little video game system and they're happy as shit. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I really,
could be worse, right?
Well, some of my friends have passed away because of the stupid shit we did. But it's just that it's the same business sort of, but not really. Like I just don't. I've tried to explain it to so many different people, and it's just, even though they say, "Oh no, man, we're best friends," it's like, no, you don't understand. There's a few men in this business I know more about them than their wives do. Yeah, and that's because we spent so much time together all the time. My girlfriend today will get pissed off because it's like, oh, we have this family event. No, I don't. I got a show. Oh, we got that family event. No, I don't. I got a show. What do you mean you got a show? I got a show. Like, and that doesn't change. Like, I'm sorry. Like, but that's just, and sometimes as I've gotten older, I've tried to curb that, but it just, you know, like it's the thrill of the hunt. They call you, they book you, you do financials, whatever. And then day of the show, you're like, man, what did I do this for? I got to fucking drive 5 hours. Like, but you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah. So it's like all the newer guys, like James Ellsworth, right? He has been around a long time, but he's still the newer guys. Trained by Axl Rotten. You know, I love Axl. Axl was one of the smartest minds in this area. He could sit there with someone and create a character and create angles and do all this shit. And for some fucking reason, he couldn't get away from that shit. Yep. that's why, and I'm the first one to tell you, I have smoked weed since I was probably 15, 16, whatever. That's the only drug I ever got into. I have taken painkillers when I am hurting. I never took them just to get off. That's not my thing. And I watched one of my very good friends, like, destroy himself, literally.
Yeah.
And to the point where when he passed away, his parents wouldn't even let any of the boys come to the service, be a part of the service,
know that.
because they blame pro wrestling for his death. And you can't blame pro wrestling. He had an addictive personality, and he went to ECW. Because before he went to ECW, I don't ever remember him doing any kind of drugs. But you get in with the wrong people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're wrong. Everybody has their thing, right?
Yeah.
Who would ever give Willie Nelson shit for smoking weed? Nobody.
He's one of those guys that I can agree with you. Like, he was special. You know what I mean? Like, he was a genuine guy. I remember him coming over our house, like, it was a few years before he passed. But he was still, you know, struggling and stuff. And it was just like, but he would just come over and sit on the couch for hours and just talk to me and my dad, just bullshit, and just do Rocky impersonations, you know, of Rocky Balboa, and just make you laugh and shit. And just like this guy's just a normal dude, you know, but such a you know, it sucks that, you know, he went out like that.
I wish the fans, he has Uber fans out there. They're still there. And they'll make their way to a show every once in a while that I'm on, and they'll come up and say something to me about him. And it was funny because, true story, today I was at Giant buying groceries, and some guy came up to me and he said, "I know you." And I'm like, "Really? How do you know me?" He goes, "You were the tag team champions with Lucifer Knight of the Road." Right now I can say that to you and I'm okay. I'm kind of stoned, but it when that guy said that to me at the grocery store, it took everything I had not to bust out in tears. Like, I hadn't heard his name mentioned by a fan in so long. And the impression that Tim Burke made on the wrestling community in this area, like, no, he was not the greatest wrestler in the world. Never claimed to be. He thought he was, but I love him. And when we became tag team and champions, and then we traded the heavyweight title back and forth, and like all the shit that we did, anytime we went on the road and rented our ring out to somebody, Lucifer wrestled Bob Starr, whatever city it was in. Spent more, like I said, I spent more time with him than I did my family. And it's a rough thing. Axl, I wish those fans and everyone else could know the Brian that I knew. The guy that when I met him, he's a great big old fat fucker, and he just wanted to be a pro wrestler, and he had this big old Cadillac car, and he drove us all over because none of us had driver's license. He was the first one around, you know, and he would drive us to shows and drive us all over Hell and Creation, and he was just the nicest guy. And like, I hate that there's fans out there that think, oh, he's a drug addict and he's this and that, and I know they do because of all the shit and it's the way he passed away. And like I said, it sucks because I sat at the show. I had a show Friday night and I had a show Sunday night last week. And I was doing two different characters, and you go down to the ring and they ring this fucking bell again. And it's like, I can't stop. You know, it just, once it starts, because I start thinking of all the times I've had to stand at that ring.
Yeah. And
it's like, people just don't understand that, like, this is a brotherhood. This could be compared to the military.
Yep.
You know, it could be compared to the police department as far as like the brotherhood, sisterhood thing. And when you start losing them people, I mean, I'm 54 years old, man. My birthday, September 24th, 1971. I should not, half of my friends shouldn't be dead, you know? And like, I know my name was on that list somewhere, but for some reason I got lucky. You know, I remember as a kid, I swore I was going to retire as a pro wrestler at 40 years old and live a good life. Yeah, right. But at the same time, I never had enough money I know men that made millions of dollars in this business that blew this shit up their nose because they could not make it from this town to this town to this town to this town one day after another without it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just stay awake. you know, and it's like, then you got to take a sleeping pill to go to sleep. Got to snort a line to wake up. You got to like, kind of like sort of
destroying your body.
Honestly, nowadays it's something called Adderall.
Yeah.
That shit is fucking amazing.
Yep.
I wish I'd take those pills. But it's all. I honestly, for the first time, this girl, Christine, has been an amazing part of my life. And I had chest pains. I guess it's almost 2 years ago. I thought I was having a heart attack, and she made me go to the doctors. I hadn't been to a doctor's in like 15 years before that.
Mm.
Like all the bumps and bruises and bullshit on the road and twisting my knee out, I just didn't go to the doctor. I took care of it myself, right? And if not, you go in a dressing room and somebody's got a painkiller or somebody's got something, right?
Yeah.
And she's made me go to the doctor. So everything I do that way is all legal and paperwork. It has to be because of my job. But that Adderall shit is amazing. You can work for forever on that shit.
Yeah, so when I used to do door-to-door sales, like probably like 10 years ago, the guys, some of the managers had them, and they gave us some, and literally, like, we had our best days ever writing sales because we could talk to everybody and everybody all day. You just fucking keep going.
and you lay down in the bed, and you're still awake. It's like,
yeah, you're still going.
Yeah, like, shit. But yeah, man, like I said, my biggest thing now is to give back. Yeah, I make a couple bucks. Like, I have a requirement, and like I tell these guys, I've had all these different people call me, and of course, then they hit me with the worst question in the world: how much do you need? And it's like, how much do I want, or how much do I need? It's two questions, because I just need to cover my bills. I make my living at a different job now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to go home with an extra $400 or $500 in my pocket. I wish I fucking 10 would.
Yeah.
I just, you know, the kids of today, they deserve kind of the shot that we had. And the MEWFs are gone. Like there's not many small organizations like that left.
No.
The ones that are running that make money in like Philly or in like, they do that thing in Charlotte every year. You know, that guy does one event a year and he draws huge numbers. They just did one in New Jersey this past weekend that everybody's there. Like, it was insane that doing the autograph deal. And
all the wrestling signings and stuff. Yeah. Like all the conventions.
Yeah. And then you look at WrestleMania week, all the independents that spend tens of thousands of dollars to put on shows and make a fortune. You just have to be in the right place at the right time with the right name.
There's some that don't even wrestle, and they just go to these signings, and because they have some sort of gimmick or personality, they're just there signing autographs all day, and people come there and they pay for it, and they're taking zero bumps.
Absolutely. That pisses me off, but
yeah.
I had to give thanks to Conrad. If you know who Conrad is.
Yeah, Conrad Thompson, yeah.
Okay, he brought me, Dan McDevitt got me a deal one time to do StarCast.
Okay.
And Danny goes, Bob, how much do you need, brother? I'm like, dude, I don't know what to ask for. I never did this shit before. Like, I had to get my ass kicked to make money before. And he hooked me up a really sweet deal, and Conrad is a gentleman. And I actually called his company for the mortgage to my house when my mom passed away. And okay. I mean, he's got an amazing company, amazing people work for him. And you know the podcast business, man. There isn't much better. He literally wakes up and does podcasts all day long.
Yeah, I used to listen to him all the time. Him and so I listened to him and Jeff Jarrett, him and Bischoff.
Yep.
And he does a couple other. I know he does Tom Pritchard and somebody else too.
Something to wrestle with.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, the Bruce Pritchard one. Yeah,
it's all under his umbrella, like his network. Yeah, and he's such an amazing guy. I kind of wish he could he doesn't need a job, right? He has a job,
right?
But a job where he could be bigger than what he is. But dude, that StarCast stuff, if it ever comes, any of your fans are watching, ever get a chance to, the StarCast, the entire deal is run so professionally and it's done so amazingly. They treat the guys like they're gold. They make sure everything's taken care of. Literally, all I had to do was walk to the tables, sit down, sign autographs, and then bullshit with the boys. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
It was great. It was the one that I did actually was the last appearance I think ever by Jimmy Crockett.
Okay.
him and his brother David were
Where was
there.
that at? Was that Charlotte, you said?
It was Baltimore.
Okay.
It was Baltimore down at Power Plant Live.
Nice.
And I did a show called what the hell did they call it? The Stars that created the stars of Starcast.
Nice.
Meaning enhancement talent. It was me, Barry Horowitz, Dwayne Gill, it was one other guy. It was 4 of us. But Colt Cabana put it together.
Okay.
And it was his idea, and it was on his podcast, whatever. And but it was part of the weekend. Like, dude, the stuff that they do at these Starcasts is absolutely amazing. Like, anybody, if you get a chance to, if it's in your town, definitely hit it. It is well worth the money, and you'll get to see some really amazing shit. The only thing I think that Conrad didn't pull off that weekend, I don't think he got Sting to do the surfer thing. Somebody said that Sting was going to dress up as a surfer and like color his hair and shit, and I'm going, really? And Sting there, but I think he did the crow.
I think this is his last year of doing like face paint and the whole get up. I don't know if he's going to continue to sign, but just like normal after this. But he said this is his last year, is what he said.
Right. I mean, I'll be honest with you, dude. I met Steve. He was already on top when I got there, but he was always super nice, and he's made millions. He doesn't need this anymore, you know. I mean, so
he's doing it for the fans.
Any way he wishes to do it, let him do it. You know, like, the only people that I really wish were on that circuit, and they were good friends of mine too, and they always took care of me, was the guys, the Road Warriors. I was more friends with Hawk than Animal, but I was friends with Animal too. Drove to several shows together and stuff, wrestled them a bunch of times. And like that Starcast shit was built for the Road Warriors. You know what I mean? Like, dude, in this particular city in Baltimore, the Road Warriors would come out, they'd start that music Iron Man, and you hear that boom, boom, and the place would lose their shit.
Yeah.
And like that was in the day when you had Hulk Hogan on this team and you had Ric Flair on that team. And like you needed somebody that could get the same kind of pop as Hulk. And that's where the Road Warrior pop came from. And if you listen to a lot of shoot interviews, they talk about the Road Warrior pop. Well, let me tell you something. I stood in the ring in front of 26,000 people, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, very first time against the Road Warriors. When that fucking music went off, dude, I swear to God, I almost shit my pants. And I'm standing in the ring. I've been doing this shit my whole life. And I looked at the referee. I said, what did I do wrong? Like, and here they come. And it looked like these 2 gigantic monsters coming at you. And with me personally, I actually blew my knees out, both of them, same time. This looked like both of them in the same match. And I'll never forget it, because for the next 3 or 4 days, we were doing a Canadian loop. For the next 3 or 4 days, every time I saw Hawk, here, little brother, take this. Here, little brother, drink that. You'll be all right. Take this. You know, they were such great guys. And then when Hawk passed away, I did one other show for Dick Karakoff, the National Wrestling Alliance. He brought in Road Warrior Animal. And I picked him up at the airport and drove him to the show. And we had such a good time just talking and reminiscing and stuff. And I think it may have been 2-3 years later he passed away. And it sucks because we don't get to see each other that much. You go from seeing each other every day to where you're seeing each other to where, okay, well, when we go home, we live in 2 different cities and they're nowhere close to each other. And then, you know, it's sort of the only thing that kind of keeps me sane is like, it's no different than it normally is. I just won't ever get to see him again. Like, so when Dan McDevitt called me, I was driving a truck at the time for the same company I work for now. And it was, I think it was a Saturday morning, maybe. I was coming out of Central Booking. I used to do Department of Correction deliveries. And I'm coming out of the thing, and Dan McDevitt called me, and he told me that Sherry passed away. And I had to pull the truck over. It just blew me. Like, Sherry was my buddy. And to this day, the memories of the fact that she didn't see that I was a job guy. She wanted me to make something of it and make some money. You know, and she wasn't worried about herself, and she was just such a nice person. Like, she taught me about wearing body glitter and all this other stupid shit that just, it sounds dumb, but it does. It catches people's eyes and they remember different things. Yeah, like guys, when you wear the body oils and all that shit, go buy the expensive bottle of cologne because the hot chicks at ringside don't want to smell that shit. They want to smell that cologne. And like when they smell that, they remember you. And it just little dumb things that she taught me that, and I mean, I honestly, and you know, I'm sure
it's funny you say that. There's a certain smell of the MEWF, MCW kind of era guys. I feel like it was more MEWF, but it was like a root beerish kind of weird smell. What is it?
It's called hot stuff.
Okay, because I was like, it's a certain smell, and I know if I smelt it right now, I'd know exactly what it was, but I don't know. Yeah,
it's called hot stuff, and all the older guys wear it, and it warms your body up.
Okay,
I have like 2 or 3 bottles of it actually in my basement, to be honest with you. But as I've gotten older, oh my God, that shit sets me on fire, bro. I mean, I look good, but holy shit.
Yeah.
Say, that, like I said, the old days were such a different time. Like I remember we went to WWF at one point for about 6 to 8 months. I was able to parlay it and wrestle at WCW and WWF at the same time. And there were a couple of us doing that. And nobody said anything. George South was doing it. Mark Starr was doing it.
There's a WCW photo.
Lancaster. That's center stage in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't remember who the hell. Actually, it's funny. A little side thing. That picture is the one that Conrad used. That's center stage.
This one?
Yeah, that's the one they use because they make StarCast pictures for you to autograph. And that's the one.
Badass.
I wish he would have picked out the next one because that's one of my favorite pictures.
This one?
My friend Tony took that picture.
Yeah, that's badass.
Atlanta.
Are you waiting for somebody to come out or something right there?
I'm waiting for him to come back from commercial break.
Okay.
During commercial break. And it's like the second, that's Pee Wee, the referee over in the corner.
Oh yeah.
And all he would do is step over and say, "All right, Bob, we're live." And we're not really live as like Nitro Live. We're live. We're taping. And like you come to life, and all the shit start depending on who you're working with, whether they're booing you or cheering you, or whatever.
Yeah.
And, dude, there's so many fun times. Like the Disney runs were classic because you were there for so long, and like the normal road trip was 2 or 3 days. Right, you run, like, say you leave Baltimore, you run down to Atlanta, you get there. The way I plan my groups, all my guys, we would get there at like 11 o'clock at night. We would go to the hotel. The lady would let us put our shit in the ballroom or a meeting room and lock our bags away. Then we would get on the hotel bus and we would go to Titty Bar, and it was a place called the Oasis South. It was like 2.5 miles from the hotel. There, the hotel bus would take all the wrestlers there, and we would hang out, and we would eat chicken because it was the only place late that we could get food. Other than Waffle House, we could chicken wings and chicken tenders and all this kind of shit. And yeah, there's girls dancing around naked. I'm sorry, you gotta have entertainment. But the thing of it was, they became like our little sisters, sort of, because we were there all the freaking time. And it's like I took so many guys down there and just saw so many first. Like this is a God's honest shoot, and any of the guys that were there could tell you. Al Phillips is one of them, out of Philly. I bring this girl back to my room. She was dating my friend Joey Maggs, and he was all messed up. And I said, "Look, don't drive home. You live like 30 minutes away. Just come with us. Go back down to the hotel. You can stay. I'm not coming on to you, none of that kind of shit. Just come, get some sleep, and then drive home." I said, "The only thing is, you just don't touch anybody's shit." And because you got all these guys, 2 or 3 guys in a room. So she comes in. Well, what do strippers do when they sleep? Most of them sleep naked. So she takes her clothes off, and I don't pay no mind to it. So it's like 7 o'clock in the morning, and you get that stupid ass light that comes through them curtains.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? And I look, and this guy Johnny Taylor, I'll never forget it. He goes, "You got that?" Because he was at the food shop all night handing her $1 bills, right?
Oh yeah.
He goes, "You got that?" And she just wakes up, and as soon as she caught on to it, she started playing into it, and the hair got ruffled, and she like squeezed her tits and shit, walked into the shower. He's losing his mind. And I'm going, I had this big reputation. I swear to God, I never had sex with a stripper in Atlanta. There was a bunch of local girls maybe, but no strippers. Because they were my friends. The one thing you learn from strippers, they always have the best weed, no matter what. Right. And they always have. But it just stories like that.
That's hilarious.
The name will not be said to protect the innocent, and because I don't remember him. But I remember I got hooked up with. We were staying at a referee named Jimmy Jett. He was running Holiday Inn Express, and they had this big. They would put out this big buffet for the boys every night, and it was the night that Nitro. It was on Monday, so all the guys that had to go to Nitro went up to Daytona Beach, and we stayed in Orlando. And this one chick was going after. God, hold on. Got to help me with a name. What is the name of the manager guy that's like the devil dude?
Oh, Sinister Minister?
Yes.
James.
He is such an amazing person, dude. I still talk to him to this day. He's a DJ down in Florida now.
Oh, really?
Chick was in love with him. And I'm thinking they're at least 2.5 hours away. And she's talking all kinds of shit at the bar while I'm trying to eat. And I'm thinking, why not? That was the first night. The second night was the director of security of Disney's daughter and Julio Sanchez, if you remember that name.
Mm-mm.
Julio was a ladies' man back in the day. Boy, he's married, happy. He's got children now. I'm happy for him. I spoke to him it might have been a year ago. He's doing really good. He lives up north, like Connecticut or something. And he works in an office that like sells or does something with heavy machinery and stuff. He was one of the success stories because he had a good little career. He was like a MCW guy, like a huge.
You're not talking about the Julio De Niro, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know exactly. I know who you're talking about then.
Big name at MCW. He did really good at WCW. Terry Taylor loved him, and he would bring him in all the time. He was in
TNA for a little while too.
Yeah, with
Raven,
Scotty.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, that name came up the other day, and I would love to have 30 more minutes. Raven is probably one of the best minds in the entire professional wrestling business.
Yeah.
In the times that I got to spend with him at MEWF back in the day, thanks to a man named Tom Casati. Tom Casati was from New York, and his parents had money. And when they passed away or whatever, he got all this money, and he loved pro wrestling. And he would literally come to a promoter and say, okay, listen, on such and such date, I know you're running a show. Well, I can bring Brutus Beefcake, Greg Valentine, Honky Tonk Man, this one, Raven, Tommy Dreamer, whoever, for $1,000.
Damn.
Now he's paying $7,500 out of his pocket. You're giving him $1,000. So he's losing $6,000 to make this happen, and he did it all the time.
Damn.
And truth be told, if it wasn't for him, that was a major thing that kicked off MEWF and MCW because this man invested his money, and I heard he passed away in Las Vegas a couple years back, and it was a shitty death because he had done so much for so many people. Like I remember one time they told us a story. MEWF, we were running a show, and Tom booked a tour to the Bahamas or something. And he booked Gangrel and Luna and all the big names at that time that were on the indies. Well, when the guys got there was no shows. He still paid them all their money. And they got room because he wanted to take a vacation and he wanted all his friends to be there. So he made sure they were all there. And Luna Vachon got pissed off and Tom said something stupid and she whipped his ass. And like Dave, who's a friend of mine to this day, Dave is fucking amazing. He has a training center in Florida, and I really want to shoot myself for I don't know the name, but if people could look it up, if you're in the Florida,
I think it's the Asylum or something like that, or maybe that was his old school.
He is another one, just like I said earlier with Brad Armstrong. Like Gangrel did get a great push. That thing with Adam and him, and it was so, but he could have been so much more. He is so talented, and to this day,
I always loved him.
He's still busting his ass to this day and still making towns.
Yeah.
Boy.
He's coming to Philly in October. He's wrestling Crowbar for Battleground Championship Wrestling.
That's another guy, Crowbar.
Yep. He's their heavyweight champion right now.
Yep. He is absolutely amazing, man. Been my friend for many years. And those guys, I will say, are friends. Like, I've known them in and around the business. The whole New Jersey clique, man, back in the day. They say the Click was like Shawn Michaels and them. Bullshit. The Click was the Jersey guys and the Philly guys and then the Baltimore guys. It was crazy.
We recently traveled out to GCW in Philly. It was my first GCW show, and Ruckus fought Matt Tremont. And it's the first time I've seen Ruckus fight in a long time. We went there and we were fucking throwing streamers. We were screaming. We were fucking holding it down. And I seen him after the show and I said, hey, I'm Buzz Stryker's son. He goes, you're Zach? I was like, yeah. He goes, damn, you got big as shit. I was like, yeah. And,
he was on that show that you showed earlier, the picture. He was at that show, I guarantee it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's
Claude is an amazing person. He can take, let's just say, let's think legal wise. He can take a piece of machinery and take the top off of it and look at it. And he has this talent that he can tell how it works.
Oh, where he mods everything. Yeah. He does some crazy stuff.
I didn't say it.
Yeah.
But he has an amazing talent. He is an amazing talent with computers too. If it wasn't for him, my computers would all be dead.
Yeah.
But no, Claude, I wished he would have got a shot too. I really do. He's happy with what he did, but he got screwed out of some things. He did go to WWF or WWE and had tryouts and stuff, but it didn't work out. And it sucks because look at the talent they use now is what he was doing then.
So I see so many things come up that people will repost on like TikTok and they'll be like, oh, where was this guy at? I never seen this guy. And it's like, you guys don't even know. And it's like old highlights of Ruckus from, early 2000s when he was in CZW and shit like that. And it's like, yeah, you guys don't have any fucking clue. Like, and recently he wrestled Effie at GCW Maryland. And we went to that show. And that was the first show they did in Maryland, and he wrestled Effie in the main event. And we came. I had an "If Effie wins, we riot" sign, and we were holding it up. And fucking
show at the Joppa place where MCW.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about that.
That was my first time there. And after the show, after they went off the air, he gave a little speech and he gave a good shout out. And I'll send it to you after we get off here, but a shout out to Tim Burke. And it was cool to hear that because it's like a lot of people there, they don't know. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the people there at that crowd, they have no idea who that is. And it was cool to see him, pay his respects to Tim and those guys from back in the day. So I think he even shouted you out too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Claude, like I said, Claude, I'll never forget the first night I met him. They came down to our the Brain Busters training center, and Tim comes inside and he's all excited. And I don't know, I was doing something, and he said, come here, you got to see this. You got to see this. So I walk outside, and here stands this dude that's like a little bit shorter than me, and he's great big. He was a big guy then. And he goes, all right, show him. And he walks up the wall and does a backflip. I said, can you do that again? And he did the same shit. I said, you're hired. Timmy goes, Christ, he hadn't even joined the school yet. I said, if he can fucking do that, he can do anything. Yeah. And I'll tell you something, Claude comes up with some of the most amazing spots. Him and he's got a partner named Robbie.
Mm-hmm. Robbie,
and the stuff that those two get into is crazy. And his other partner now up in Philly is actually working for NWA now. So they haven't teamed in a while that I know of. But like anytime them guys are on the show, the fans are in for a treat. Always.
They've been getting booked at that same place, that Battleground Championship Wrestling. Him, Robbie, and Larry have been getting booked up there quite a bit. Pretty much every show I've seen them on.
Philly?
Yeah, it's in Philly. It's Tim Embler is the promoter.
I had to look it up.
Yeah, they bring in they've been bringing in a bunch of people. They brought in like Jinder Mahal at the last one, Masada, Bronwyn Billington. They bring in a bunch of bigger name people in there, and they're having another show October 25th, I think. And there's going to be, I don't know if Ruckus and them will be there, but yeah, they do shows every couple months. They're not too bad.
I mean, that ECW arena has hosted so many other companies since ECW. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, they constantly run. That's where they run out of too, the 2300.
Right.
But I wanted to ask you, so what do you think is your biggest contribution to the wrestling business?
I don't know, man. That is that's a mouthful. What's my contribution to it? More of to give back. And let me tell you a quick story. So I'm at WCW, and I'm home. I work at a t-shirt shop for that guy Maddog O'Malley, actually. And the phone rings, and he said, "Bob, telephone." And I'm like, "Who the fuck is calling me at work?" And it was J.J. Dillon from WCW. He was the booker at the time, or assistant booker. He said, "Hey, Bob." I said, "Hey, Mr. Dillon, how are you?" He said, "I'm good." He goes, "What are you doing Monday night?" And this was like Friday or some stupid Thursday. I'm like, "Nothing, sir. What you need?" He said, "Well, we need you in Denver, Colorado." He goes, "Kevin Nash, put your name in the hat." He goes, "I'm going to have, I forget the lady's name. I don't think it was Miss Jamie. It was somebody from travel had to call me." He goes, "I'm going to have her call you in the next 15 minutes. Get your ticket straight. I'll see you in Denver." Before I could say anything, he hangs up. Well, at the time, I don't have a credit card.
Mm.
So how the fuck am I going to rent a car in Colorado, of all places? So I get on the internet, and all we had was AOL, and it was that stupid shit that hooked through the phone line that took forever. And I get on there, and I type on a profile, male wrestling fan, and Denver, Colorado. And it pops up, and I find these kids that are like online. I start talking to them, and I show them who I am, and I tell them what I'm about to do. I said, "Listen, I can't get a rental car. Is there any way you can pick me up from the airport and take me downtown, drop me off at whatever hotel?" I said, "I'll catch a room, but I'll get you tickets for the show." I said, "I guarantee you I'll get you tickets. I can't tell you where they'll be, but I can get you tickets." And they're like, "Absolutely." So these young kids, God, I wish I could remember their names. They're picking me up. They're like, "Well, before we go to the hotel, we want to take you to the bar." And I went, "Oh, shit, here we go." So they took me to the most amazing bar, dude. Like, it was a block and a half, 2 blocks long. One side of it had country line dancing and shit going on. One side had like 80s metal going on. It was just, there was girls everywhere. It was the most amazing place. And they were the nicest people. They kept me at that bar so late that when I checked in, I actually should have paid for 2 days. They only charged me for one because it was literally like maybe 4-ish in the morning when I got there. And I'm thinking, holy shit, I got to get up early. I got to be at TV tomorrow. And that was, what the hell I doing? Oh, Denver was me and a kid out of Virginia against Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. And it was the day after Sturgis. And what happened was, as they played the Steiner Brothers music, and that's when I came out. And as I'm coming out, I'm like, "That's the fucking Steiner's music." And I walk out through the smoke, and I'm thinking, "Oh, don't we look like assholes?" And that's what I'm saying on TV. You just can't hear me. But I'm like, "Don't we just look like assholes?" And I go like this, and the other guy is like, everything I did, he did. So we go down to the ring, and what do you call it? Scott and Kevin had a promo before we came out. So they ate up all the time. So I'm literally stepping through the ropes, and Nick goes, "Go home." I said, "What?" He goes, "You heard me, go home." I said, "Jesus Christ, can I get outside the fucking ring first?" And I get out, and they slap that kid a couple times, throw him into me and tag me. And they did that because at the time, and it's not a slight on him, but Scott was like, "Listen, I don't know if I can get him up. He's a big boy. Like, to do the deal, right?"
Yeah.
I've been the same way. It's like, you just want to make that look good. So I was like, "I'll just come in for the finish. That's cool, whatever." They tag me, and he brings me, he snapmares me by the hair into the ring, and he does a little bit of bullshit, whatever. And then we do the finishes, and it's like, it's funny because to this day I still have pictures of that on the table when I do indies. And so, long story short, because when I smoke, my stories get long. So I go backstage, and Terry Taylor says, "Hey, Bob, what are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "I'm getting on a fucking plane and flying home." He goes, why aren't you on a Saturday night tapings?" I'm like, "I don't know. That's a good question since I'm here." And he went into the room. He comes out. He goes, "You're booked." I said, "Terry." He's like, "What?" I said, "Dude, I don't have a fucking car, dude." And I was thinking about the young kids or whatever that brought me the thing. He goes, "Hang on a second." And he goes over to Haku and Barbarian. And he comes back with them. He goes, hey, when they're done, you're going to go with them. You're going to stay with them, and they're going to take you to TV, and they're going to take you to the airport the next day. Go change your ticket. So I go in real quick, and they used to buy us these insanely expensive tickets that we could change them to do anything. It was insane. Like nowadays, it's like $70, $80 to change flights and all this other. Back then,
you could make money back then, right?
Yeah, we
you
had
could make money on some of those plane tickets.
Yeah. Well, that was back when we got paper plane tickets too.
Yeah.
So I went with them, and we went to Denny's, and I'll never forget it because we walk into fucking Denny's in Denver, and they have Nitro on the fucking TV. The people that are in there eating were like, we couldn't figure out if they saw us wrestle because, like, I don't know how long it's been on. I don't know how long they've been here, right?
Yeah.
So we sit down over in the corner and we order all this friggin' food, and the bill comes, and Haku won't let me pay it. He's like, I got it. Don't worry about it. I'm like, dude, I brought cash because, to make sure, whatever. Don't worry about it. But those two weren't allowed to stay together. They had issues where they would get in trouble. They would get drinking, like shit would
shit gets broke.
Yeah. So they always room separately. So Barb's like, you stay with me. And I was like, okay. I'm a young kid, right? Like I'm 23, 4, something like that. Like I'm not going to argue with nobody, like whatever you need. Right. So I'm sitting there. So I room a Barbarian, and it was so funny. I've never seen a man as soon as he wakes up, I'm laying there, passed the fuck out, and I open my eyes, and brother's doing sit-ups. Like, I don't mean sit-ups, I mean 1,000 sit-ups. Like, it was insane. Like, that's how he stayed in shape back then, right? And so the next morning, we do TV, we go back to the hotel again. So I should, like, be helping out with at least 2 days rent. Like, one of the days should be on me and one on him, right? So when we get to the thing, he had already checked out the next morning, but by the time I got out of the shower, and I'm like, Barb, and he's like, come on, let's go. We're going to be late. And because our flights were together, and I think Haku's was later. And we get to the airport, we turn the car in, and he's got this gimmick where he would get points or some bullshit, and his wife would kill him if he didn't get his points, because that's how they do their vacations. And afterwards, I'm like, I got like $300-$400 in my hand. I'm like, Barb, what do I owe you, bro? I know I owe you for the room and whatever. He's like, listen, all I'm going to say to you is this: one day, one of the young boys is going to need help. He goes, and he's not going to know where to turn. He goes, I helped you. I would like you to help me run. And to this day, I live by that motto because they saved my ass. And I still talk to Ming. I always wish him a happy birthday and Merry Christmas and stuff like that on the internet. Barb, I don't think he's online. If he is, I have never found him. But I've seen him occasionally. Somebody in Virginia will book him on a show because he lives in the Carolinas. Okay. And I'm up and I would be on there clowning around, usually using that gimmick. And he we'd end up on the same shows together. And it's like, but Haku, it's so funny. Haku was probably the baddest man ever in the WWF. He'd have killed anybody, and he's the nicest guy in the world. He, if he's still doing it, he was selling cars in Florida and doing very well. It's like your dad, like that. You know how that business goes. That business is a business if you're good at it. And he was like at one of the bigger dealerships doing really well. And he does the autograph signing gimmicks, you know what I mean? But obviously he gave up wrestling a long time ago. It's like he's got to be. So I'm 54, so he's got to be close to 70 now.
Wow.
He's still. You ask any of the boys you interview on here that have worked WWF or WCW with him, nobody fought with Haku. Like it didn't happen.
He wrestled a match not that long ago. It's for a promotion called ICW, which is in chains wrestling. So instead of ropes, they use chains, like thick ass chains. Yeah. And he wrestled this guy Schlack. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a big, huge guy. And this is not that long ago. And they went back and forth and were just going at it. And the guy who runs the promotion, his name is Danny DeMonto. Yeah, he's the promoter for them, or the owner or whatever. And I guess he has said that he was like, yeah, Ming. He went under Ming at the time. I guess he's like, yeah, Ming was like hey, that was fun, but don't ever call me again for that shit. And it was like they went out there and just were going ham. And he was old. He was older too, but he was still big and still going at it. And this was only a few years ago.
That man will throw a chop and cut right through your chest. It's fucking amazing how strong he was. And it's like when you were his friend, you were good. You didn't have to worry about shit. You know what I mean? He is funny because way back in the day, he kind of sort of dated a friend of mine, and like I brought her name up. He started talking to me, like, and it was no bullshit talk. It was just, hey, you remember such and such? He's like, holy shit, yeah. And then we started talking, and we were friends. And he was always so cool. And it's so neat that like you hear sometimes how do they put it about don't meet your heroes or some shit?
Yeah. It's like a letdown.
True. I mean, he wasn't my hero. Hulk was. So, like, he was working Hulk, though. You know what I'm saying? And, like, you could tell Hulk trusted him because Hulk had trust issues with a lot of people, and Ming could have killed him, and he still worked with him all over the place.
Yeah.
And so, he trusted him.
Yeah.
But the Island Boys, I know them all. I've wrestled everybody. I wrestled for Office Promotion up in Allentown. I've wrestled with Yoko. I've wrestled with Sam. I've wrestled with their kids. The Samoan dynasty, that is no bullshit. Like, people think it's all horse shit. No, not at all. Like, these are all cousins, brothers, uncles. It's crazy. There's so many of them. And what was cool is I think I've wrestled 4 generations of them.
Yeah.
I started with Sika and Afa. Then I went with Sam and Rikishi before he got really big. They were the Islanders or whatever that shit they were calling them. Samoan SWAT team or whatever.
Yeah, Samoan SWAT team.
Then I worked with Alpha Jr. Then I worked with what's the newest one that hasn't broke yet? Lance. I want to say I was Lance's first match.
I feel like I remember Lance being real young, like a teenager when I was younger too, and he was like still doing stuff in the ring, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like
that boy has been in the business since it's ridiculous how long he's been, and he deserves it. They all deserve it. Those guys work so hard, and I'm not saying that other guys don't, but when you live in a family like that, there's a whole lot to live up to. You know what I'm saying? Like they all say no, but yes, there is. Like right now, the fucking thing to live up to is Roman Reigns, and the second one is Mr. Yeet. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line, they were world fucking champion, and not many people get that. So and I if I met Jay, I met him when he was a young kid in a dressing room somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. I would love to catch up with him now. And Roman, I've never met, but I know his dad. So like. I met his dad several times.
What about Jacob? Have you met him?
No, and I don't even know where he fits in, like whose kid or what.
I think he's who's Rikishi's brother? Is it what's his name? Fuck that.
Tongan Kid?
Tongan Kid, yeah. Tongan Kid is his father.
No shit.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started, Tonga Kid was still around. And then I don't know why he disappeared. He was with the Islanders. It was Haku and Tama. The Tonga Kid was with Haku. Yeah. When they first came in that I remember, like 86. But like I said, the whole family, Alpha, you would go to work for him and he would be like, he literally would say, "Come here, son, sit down." And he would talk to you. You're his kid, right? He was just the nicest guy and so respected by everybody. Like if I wrestled in Allentown for WWF house show. If you go to Allentown, WWF house show, you go to Alpha's gym and you sign the wall. He had a wall in that gym that was like, it went down this way and across. It was like 2 walls of the gym, sort of. And everyone from Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, everybody you can think of in the business has signed this wall. Mm-hmm. And when I walked in there, I'm thinking, I'm nobody. I'm not saying shit. And he's like, "Son, come sign the wall." Like, and every one of us, me, Dwayne, Barry, I think it was just me, Dwayne, and Barry that were on that trip. And he was just so cool. I mean, definitely missed. Like that was the training centers that would have taught.
Funny you say about signing the wall and that being a tradition. It's also a tradition at the 2300 arena. I heard today that apparently there's fans that have been signing this wall at the 2300 arena. And I don't understand how that is like even okay. But
the problem is they'd have to catch them. I know where you're talking about. It's at the bathrooms. You know, room that says ECW or whatever. I guarantee that's the wall. Last time I was there, I didn't see it, so I'm not sure like what wall they built or how they did it or whatever. I was there for a concert last year. It was a 3-day concert, and I was taking pictures, and it's so amazing what they've done with that place as to what it used to be.
Mhm.
Like it's nothing like it used to be. It's really nice now.
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing. I did screw one thing up. I'm down to 11%.
Okay. Let me wrap you up then.
This was great. I'd love to do this again. I
would love to do it again too. We can definitely have a part 2 of Bob Starr for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and or do a thing where your dad's there and we can get it all together, dude.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you, like I said to you, and I'm sure it was a shock that Rain's gone and Chris.
Yeah, I didn't know all that.
All these other guys. It's not much longer, and all these stories are going to die.
Yeah.
Because if we don't put them on tape, or you weren't there, then the story dies, and that sucks because there's so many stories that have died over the years. My friends like Buddy Landell, that was my friend. He would call me in the middle of the night, driving 100 miles an hour in a Porsche, trying to get home, and he's falling asleep, and my phone would ring, and I'm dead asleep, and I wake up and be like, hello? He's like, Bob, get the fuck up, man. I need somebody to talk to. I'm going to run off the goddamn road.
Yeah.
And like that's what the brotherhood was about back then, because you would get up, light a cigarette, sit there and talk for an hour until he got his ass home.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's so many people that are gone now. Tracy Smothers was another amazing talent. And he died a horrible death too, with cancer and stuff. Like he died completely broke because of that shit. And it sucked. I got to tag team with him in Martinsburg, West Virginia at the against the Cousins on a show that Fantasia put together that Chucky Manson was involved with. And what they did, instead of you buying a ticket, you brought a can of dog food or a bag of dry dog food or cat food. It was a show to raise money for the animal shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And we filled like these giant pickup trucks, like really filled these fuckers with shit, which was cool as shit. And I got to tag with Tracy, and it was just like I tagged with Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert way back in the day. And I don't know if your dad was around then yet or not, but I tagged with Eddie Gilbert. It was me and Eddie against Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Lucifer. And the ring broke. And Eddie goes, follow my lead, kid. I said, yes, sir. And we just can't do shit when the ropes are broke, but we had to do the main event of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And me and Timmy, because we were always fighting at that time before we won the belts, he ends up on one side, I end up on the other. You know, Paul Heyman was there, all kind of guys were there. That was a crazy show. But these guys, like, they can't be forgot. It sucks because new wrestling fans, they don't understand how entertaining Tracy Smothers in ECW was some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. From the way him and Vito and all them guys Little Guido, the whole deal that they did was absolutely hilarious. But at the same time, you could turn Tracy Smothers around from back in the day against the sheep herders, and they did bloodbaths all over the country that were insane.
That's crazy.
It's like if that footage is on YouTube, which pretty much everything is, if one using it, got to know what it's labeled.
Yeah,
you'd be amazed. The Fantastics against the sheep herders in barbed wire cages all over the country. Like Bill Watts used to put them guys through so much shit. I'm glad he was only my boss for like 6 or 8 months. He never bothered with me, but Jesus Christ, the stuff he had some guys do was holy shit. But you had to be a man's man to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
You know? But listen, man, I've had an absolute blast. I'd love to do it again. Like I said, I'd love to do it with your dad too.
Yeah, like I said, we can definitely set that up in the future. And like I said, we could even like dissect like certain matches that are out there, watch them, come back and give our feedback and shit like that. But I know you guys have plenty of stories. But let me ask you one last thing is if you could give one piece of advice to today's generation of wrestlers, what would it be, Bob?
Get your education. Something
have a backup plan.
My mom tried, and I just was going to be a pro wrestler, and I was going to be a superstar. and I was going to retire at 40. And I've been busting my nuts my whole life. Like, get an education. Trust me, wrestling's not going to go anywhere. It will still be there. Trust me.
Yeah. Let the people know where they can find you. Let them know your handles, what social medias are you on, what you got coming up, what you got going on. I know you got a show coming up this Friday, but by the time this comes out, it'll already be past them. But I know you're working with a few promotions, so let the people know where they can find you. Check
me out with USW Wrestling online. You had to do a Google search because I honestly don't know the address. But it's USW Pro Wrestling. It's right now they're based out of Delaware, but we've done everywhere. They have an online television show. So if you Google them, maybe you can find that. It's
on YouTube.
Yep. I'm all over that show.
Yep.
I doing their house show September 20th and 21st. I'm going to be in Milford and Seaford, Delaware for USW television taping. Bring the whole family out. If you're seeing this, it's family entertainment. There's no language. There's no craziness, but it's great wrestling. And we're going to be taping 8 hours of TV in 2 days. I am at every House of Pain Wrestling Federation show in Charlestown, West Virginia. I think that town's Charlestown, right?
I believe it's Charlestown. You guys do Charlestown and maybe like Kearneysville or something too?
Well, Kearneysville is ATCW. That is in two. Well, I don't know what air date this has. So the third Saturday of every month, I'm with ATCW in Kearneysville, West Virginia at the church.
Okay.
The church building. And I'm working my way around. I'm doing my rounds. You know, I just started working for a promotion Matt Wilder's running that's literally 10 minutes down past where the House of Pain is. And I just did my first show with them Friday night. And I'll let you know. You know what I mean? Was
that Riot City or Riot Pro?
Riot City Pro Wrestling, yes. Yep. That's it. Yep. A little bit of clown.
A little bit of clowning around.
Yeah.
Bob, I appreciate you for stepping into the bingo hall, blazing it with your boy. Until next time, we'll have to set it up again, my friend. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for everything, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. See you guys.